Hey everybody, Jacob here with a quick message before we break into today's episode of the Research Log. I got some good news, I got some bad news. The bad news is that I kind of screwed up during the recording of this episode, or at least I assume I screwed up. I'm really not sure how it happened, but the only explanation is that I did something wrong. I accidentally pulled audio from the wrong microphone during this recording. Instead of using our nice microphone, which I'm currently speaking into right now and talking to you all with hello, instead all of the audio for this episode was seemingly pulled from the internal microphone on our computer, or at least that's the only thing that I can figure that makes sense. And the really unfortunate thing is that with our setup, our computer is actually sitting slightly behind us, though really I'm not sure it would have been any better, but the point is that we were talking away from it, which probably made it slightly worse than it already would have been. It still wouldn't have been very good. Regardless, the point is that the audio quality on this episode is unfortunately very subpar. This means the hope that I really have not had this particular screw up in the entire course of doing YouTube. I think across Let's Plays and all the other stuff that I've done, I don't think I've ever quite done this. And you know what? First time for everything. And when you do it once, it puts the fear of God in you, and you check and double check every single time and make sure that this sort of thing doesn't happen in the future. So hopefully by getting this out up front in episode 3, it'll never happen again. So I do apologize for that. This won't be the most comfortable audio experience that you've ever had in your entire life. But that being said, it probably won't be the worst one either. I don't know. I was kind of worried that it was pretty bad, but as I was editing, I got used to it pretty quickly. It's not terrible. So hopefully this won't be too bad of a listening experience. The good news is, other than that this probably won't happen again on the next episode, because I'll do a better job of checking and making sure that it doesn't happen. The good news is that MP3 versions of episodes of the Research Log are now going to be available on Patreon for you to download. So you can check a link in the description on this video, which will send you over to our Patreon page, and you can direct download MP3s for episodes of the Research Log going forward. I'm not going to upload one for episode 1 because I don't really think anybody's going to want to go back and listen to the MP3 of me explaining what the show is. But you can direct download MP3s of episodes of this show, or if you want, you can just listen to them. You can stream you can pull up the file and listen to it, in browser or whatever on Patreon if you want. If you don't want to actually download the file, still might be a little bit easier on your, for example, if you're out and about and you want to listen on your phone or whatever, and you don't want to have to load an entire YouTube video, a little bit less data for your phone to have to struggle with or whatever else. If you're already listening to the MP3 version, I apologize that you're having to listen to this PSA about a thing that you already know about, but I don't feel like exporting 2 separate versions of this episode. Anyway, I believe that's it. Let's move on, shall we, to the Research Log episode 3, which, as of the time of me recording this, I still have not named, so I can't say what it's called. All right, after a rollicking success of a first episode of the Research Log, we have 2 major items on the news docket.
2 of them?
Yes. Yuji Naka has left the building, and David Cage has left the courtroom.
Oh, no.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Joey.
I'm Joshua.
Oh, hey, Joshua's here too.
Hi.
Check that out.
Hello, everyone.
He's hanging out here today. We're going to mostly just clown around like we normally do, but we're going to talk about a couple of things that have happened recently because we want to clown. And we're gonna do, since we're not gonna be able to stream E3 this year like we did in 2018 and 2019, unfortunately, we're gonna talk about E3 predictions and try to get this episode out in a timely manner. And then we'll do another episode after E3 and we'll talk about what actually happened. So if you're here listening to this, you're either you're either listening to it in a timely manner, or you're going through the backlog for whatever reason, or you've come back to laugh at us for being wrong about things, as we inevitably usually are. We were wrong about things.
That's 90% of the audience right now, let's be frank.
In the last episode, I said Sony at E3, and they're not there. So, and that came out just a couple days ago. So shows what I know. Shows
to go, yeah.
It just shows to go, yeah. I have a follow-up thought about the hand, though.
Okay.
I have a thought about the hand, which kills one person every 24 hours and moves
go through mountains.
And can go through mountains and moves at a set speed and always hits its target, right?
Yes.
I've realized something. If it moves at a consistent speed and it has and it's on mission and it knows where its target will be, right? Okay. It only kills 365 people a year. It is, I think, possible due to a loophole of plot hole and functions and logic. It is possible, I think, to almost ensure that you will never get got by the hand.
Okay.
How's that?
All right.
Explain.
So the hand is being tracked, right?
Yes.
And the hand moves at a consistent speed, which means that by now in the modern day, we would be able to project, okay, the hand is within a few minutes of hitting one target and starting moving, there's a staffed team somewhere that's part of the UN, and their job is to, realistically, the U.S. military is probably doing it. And well, this could be an issue if like there are countries that are like, let's say the hand goes into North Korea, and it's like you're not allowed to track the position of the hand in North Korea. This could mess things up, and the calculations could happen late, and people might not get a warning on other stuff, right? But anyway, I'm sure a lot of countries would collaborate on this, but there would probably be a set team somewhere with a bunch of international members that is like the hand team. But the point is, you can forecast where the hand is going to be.
Yes. And
I imagine it would be fairly easy to go, this is its trajectory, and it's moving at this speed. We can predict that it is going to hit within this, let's say, 30 square mile area, right? Maybe a little bit wider, right? Okay. So let's say that the news comes in that the hand is going to hit your town in 23 hours, right?
Okay.
Don't be in town in 23 hours.
Yes.
Now you may say, but the hand goes wherever. But the point is that the hand has a target in mind, and it knows where its target is going to be, right? And not everyone is going to flee. Not everyone's going to be paying attention to the hand. Some people can't flee. Some people are going to be like, I don't believe in the hand. I don't listen to
the hand truthers.
The hand is a sham. I don't believe in the hand. I don't listen to the government when they tell me to get out of here because there's a hurricane coming. Or they're otherwise indispensable and they miss it. You could forget to look at the hand watch one day. You could not hear the sirens go off and not get out of town in time, right?
Jesus.
But the point is, if you're on Hand Watch website every day and you're like, it's coming to my town. Yeah. All you have to do is not be in town. And by virtue of not being there, that means you're not the target, right? Now, of course, you could also discover it's like, okay, it's going to be on this stretch of countryside or whatever. Or like, I was planning on taking a trip and there's a chance if traffic is bad, I'll be in the vicinity of the hand. I'm not taking that trip anymore. Yep. And the thing is, there will still be people for it to get got. But if you're keeping track of it with its relatively low numbers, someone else will get got. And you go, well, what if your name comes up? What if the hand selects it? That's the thing. The hand can't select your name if you're going to be like. It's a paradox, right?
Okay. But also, let's go back to the biblical stories of this.
Okay.
Okay. So, who was it that it was going to deny Jesus 3 times? And he's like, I will not deny Jesus.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that it couldn't happen, because you could be a guy who says, I am going to, you could be a guy who says, I'm going to do a hand watch every day, and just one day you forget, you have a bad day, you don't think about it, you have a bad internet connection, it could still happen.
It might not even be up to you, you know?
I don't think the hand has mind powers, but I think maybe the hand wants to get you, right? But you're paying too much attention. And now you are on the hand's list until the opportunity of, he or she isn't going to notice.
But you also have
and now your name comes up.
Things that are beyond your control, you know, maybe you
get Final Destination.
Maybe there's an awful chili dog accident, you break both of your legs and you're in the hospital and you can't run away.
It's possible.
Maybe you get arrested and you're stuck in the jail cell and
oh
no!
That's what I'm saying, you could get Final Destination and circumstances conspire to force you to be stuck in one place.
Okay, less biblical in Lost, okay? I don't remember the context whatsoever, I just remember them talking about fate and destiny.
Well, that's in Purgatory, so it's different.
I don't know
Spoilers.
Though. I don't
It's not a real spoiler.
I don't know though. Because this is somebody's mind flashback, maybe. They're not on the island, he's on the street. He's talking to a man who I think is God, and the guy is like, hey, pay attention to that dude's shoes. And the dude's got like red or yellow shoes. And it's like, okay. And they're talking, and then you hear a crash, and you see like a building collapse. Or like a scaffolding collapse and killed the man, you just see his shoes. And it's like, if you knew he was going to die, why didn't you warn him? He's like, well, had I told him that the scaffolding was going to collapse, he would have gone out in the street and gotten hit by a car. It was just his time. It was destiny.
Right. So you could have stopped walking on the sidewalk.
He could have just stopped right there.
Yeah.
The hand could have gotten him if he stopped walking.
See,
this is what I'm saying is, I believe that if it is your predetermined time from the hand, there's not much you can do.
Okay, so this is my
You can take
question.
your precautions, but if it's your time, it's your time.
I have one question about the hand.
Okay.
Based on what you guys went over yesterday is when I looked at the video. I don't know the answer to this, and I need a straight answer.
Okay.
So the hand can go through any surface, right?
Yes.
And he always takes the shortest route to his target, right?
But no, he does. But no, he orbits. He doesn't goes through the Earth's
Or
core.
does he?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
No.
Does he not?
He doesn't
The hand maintains a cruising altitude. We didn't determine what the height was, but it maintains a constant cruising altitude when it's not descending to crush or ascending from a crush.
So under no circumstances he will go through the planet core, even if he needs to remain undetected to get someone who is otherwise watching the hand watch.
No, I don't think so. Here's the thing. I think the hand has enough targets.
Yes.
And here's the thing. Like you will get into circumstances of guy in prison, guy in the hospital. But here's the other thing I was thinking about. Right. Here's the other thing. Okay. Is let's say it's determined the hand is going to hit this bit of like a highway or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
Here's what happens. Right. The government shuts down the highway and says we're not coming here for that in this 3-hour period. Right. They also. Because the whole thing, like the original green text was like, how would society change? I have a proposal. Okay. In countries where the death penalty exists, they go get a death row inmate and they bring that death row inmate and chain them down in the approximate projected area where the hand is going to be, and then retreat to a minimum safe distance.
But what if it's not his time?
But that's the point. The point is that if the hand is projected to be at a place, the hand is predestined to know where its target is. That's the point. They're fulfilling the destiny.
Oh my God.
Unless it's like
we're getting into this is basically a philosophical debate about predestination.
No, I was about to say what's going to end up happening is these people are getting close to playing God, and when they cross the line, that the hand's going to come for them.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like there will be incidents of it's actually someone else in the vicinity who was unnoticed, or someone like some person who had too much hubris and got too close to see it happen, and they actually get hit. Like there will be twists and subversions, and they will not always be predictable and controllable.
Oh
but like,
God.
I think if the hand has a consistent set rate, there would become this. See, I think it's almost more interesting if there becomes this dystopic element to it of people plan their lives around the presence of the hand, and there is a set up, determined sacrifice of we know where the hand is going to be. We will present someone, and that will fulfill the prophecy. This is who the hand predestined was going to be there. But there will be twists.
There will be for sure, and the more I'm thinking about this, the more it's like, if the hand knows all that is to be, it's like, then, and it's probably, I don't know how it's making its choices. That's not up to me to decide. I'm just a man. I can't know what the hand is thinking. But it's like, if in the future there's going to be a man chained in this area, and it's like, maybe it's like, that does determine, like, maybe that causes in the past him to think about it in the future to
I don't know.
To then.
There's a lot going on here.
So wait, if there are no more worlds to conquer and the hand has killed every single person on Earth, would they at that point would the planet's core become its target and they would just implode the planet?
That's the thing, is that since it only kills 365 people a year, it really isn't a huge death toll.
Theoretically, but let's say in the event of a nuclear apocalypse,
I think it would go. I think it would go to another planet. Or
what if there isn't intelligent life anywhere else? Would it just hit the explosion?
I think it wouldn't be our problem anymore.
I think it would. I think it would lose meaning. I think it would. I'm not sure that the hand. I mean, we don't know the hand's thoughts. It may not think. It may just be a primordial element.
I don't think it thinks.
I think if it has no targets, it either just hovers and doesn't move for the rest of eternity, or it crushes itself.
Okay, so would there be, theoretically, could we trick the hand into going after someone who is in orbit of the sun, a la the McSpanky's restaurant from Jimmy Neutron, and force the hand to kill itself in the sun's incredible heat?
I don't think it would die from the sun.
I think, Joshua, this is something that would be tried, but like it would be centuries from now if you're living with the hand for a long time.
Obviously, yes.
I think it would be attempted and it wouldn't work.
I think it would just go through the sun.
You think so? Kill the sun?
I don't think it would even. The sun. You've seen how big the sun is. I don't think it'd be affected by the hand, because we determined the hand can only be so many meters, and it's like, how many Earths can fit in the sun?
Like a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a lot. That was a very scientific answer.
So I think it'd be fine. I don't think either party would be harmed.
That's fair.
Because
the sun and the hand have similar power levels.
The military definitely would have tried to kill the hand. Nukes would have been involved at one point. It would have been completely unscathed.
Yeah, they would have hit it like when it was over the ocean at some point.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And it's like, I'm imagining, like, you could probably stick one or two things on the hand. There's no guarantee it'll stay, but it's like, You know, if you stuck like a little box on top of the hand, it's like you could probably keep tracking it. Mm-hmm. And as the hand passes by, you see there's like 7 different boxes, all from different nations, tracking it.
And then there's just a sound box that puts out kind of an alarm sound. So like you just one day you're like, what was that? You're and you just look like, oh, the hand's passing by. Okay, that was okay.
You check your watch and you're like, oh, thank God.
We're 5 hours early. Thank God.
We're good. He's on the move.
I don't want anyone to think that every episode of the research log is just going to be about the hand.
There will be at least 5 minutes dedicated to the hand every episode.
No, I don't think so. But
not yet.
Research has to be conducted. More research was conducted, and the point is to log the research.
Exactly.
So
all I know is right now the majority of these episodes have involved a segment on the hand. That's all. The
majority have involved, so far, the majority of episodes have involved at least a few minutes of discussion about the hand. It's true.
It's worth discussing.
This will probably be the only episode that involves me talking about a friend of mine having a bit of a freak out and sending me messages because he's found out that, I already knew this, that the mom from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody voices one of the villains in Persona 5 Strikers. And I take it that neither of you knew this.
I'm not surprised by that.
See, I already knew about that.
I had no idea. That's incredible.
She's playing a Persona villain, and her son is playing a Kingdom Hearts villain?
No, he's going to be the protagonist. Sora will die.
No, he's a protagonist.
Sora will die.
But
sorry, I can't lose.
His current function is a mysterious bad boy villain. Because, mysteries.
Noctis.
Noctis is his current function is to be a mysterious bad boy villain. Ooh, what could Nomura's intent be? Could it be that he just wants to write a cool thing with the character that he likes, and he's just being mysterious and a bad boy for this one scene?
This is like the scale-bound protagonist looking just like Nero, but legally distinct.
It's
basically the same thing.
We were talking about this last time.
And coincidentally,
I did not remember the demo where the dude was cosplaying as the main character on stage playing the Scalebound.
Oh, hell yeah. He had the headphones and everything.
What an absolute hero.
See, this is connected because Scalebound never came out and Verum Rex will never come out.
No, you're right.
There'll be 5 minutes of Noctis.
Just call him Noctis.
There'll be 5 minutes of Noctis in... That's what I was trying to call him. There'll be 5 minutes of Noctis in Kingdom Hearts 4, and that'll be it. And everybody will be very disappointed yet again, except for me, who will maintain my expectations. Look, here's the fact of the matter is that with Union Cross, which I'm not going to get into right now, having wrapped up, that story is terrible. But at least I can acknowledge, like, wow, the Master of Masters is an insane, amoral, crazy person, and maybe he'll be a fun villain, right? And I'm like, hey, you know what? Nomura may actually want to write that Verum Rex stuff. So, like, minimum, sure, Kingdom Hearts 4 might be interesting, but I'm not getting my hopes up.
Well, if anything, it's like, it can go more places than 3 could have. Because of the setup of 3?
Yeah, because he told us what was going to happen in 2012 and then got bored. Because he was like, wait, I can't do subversive... Because he was too busy with, like, I need to make a game on the 3DS, but it has to have story, but I can't tell a big story. So I'll just tell what I'm thinking about doing next time. And then 8 years later, his life had changed a lot and probably didn't feel like writing that anymore, but it was too late because he told everybody already. This is the problem, folks, with promising things. There's many different problems. One of them is the emotional problem for your audience of promising something and potentially not delivering, and just building expectations instead of delivering good content right now. But there's the functional problem of saying, I'm going to do this eventually, get excited for it, and you may lose interest. Authors lose interest in what they're doing sometimes. And if you spend too much time setting something up and then you get bored, or you tell people, don't worry, there's 3 more A Song of Ice and Fire books, and you're 75 years old and you're writing too slow, then, you could get in some trouble.
I don't know what you're talking about. Game of Thrones Season 8 already finished the story.
It's true.
Speaking of that, early E3 not prediction, anti-prediction, there will be no Elden Ring.
There will be no Elden Ring. I 100% agree.
I'm going out on a limb, and I don't expect there to be any FromSoft announcements, but I believe that it is more likely that we get an announcement for something that isn't Elden Ring than something that
for Elden Ring.
So from what I saw, the Halo presentation is going to be around 10 minutes long, and this is what the leaks are saying anyway, and mostly focus on multiplayer.
Really?
Yeah, which I don't. That doesn't bode well. I don't think.
I'm going to make if there's a big Halo thing, I'm going to make a prediction that there's going to be a really obvious cringy. It's like, hey, you got that brute meme, whatever his name is.
He's gonna be flossing.
He's gonna be here. He's gonna be an emblem we can get in multiplayer.
And he's also your buddy in the campaign.
Whoa, we're so hip, and it's gonna be so funny.
He comes on like Chick Hydrobot. and they're like, we're taking it to the next level.
Taking it to the next level. That was sick.
I don't know, like a 10-minute multiplayer presentation for Halo doesn't make, because I don't know, to me, like I guess I'm not plugged into the Halo fan base, but I really think like in order to get a Halo fan excited for Halo multiplayer, you need to show them something that looks like 3 again.
Yeah.
Or 2, like something, or even Reach for that matter.
I mean, yeah, some people didn't like sprinting and stuff in Reach, but most people.
Crap.
Uh-oh.
It's alright, I'll fix it.
Ruin Reach!
Yeah, no.
It's a bad game!
But like, I feel like at this point, so many people were disappointed by 4 and 5 that at this point people would love to go back to Reach. And I mean, most people already really enjoyed Reach.
Reach is probably my favorite multiplayer. I've all 3 of them.
Oh, Joey, you just lost all of our Halo viewers.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
It was way too slow, but then they had sprints in it, and they just ruined the balance of the game.
They're wrong.
I distinctly remember thinking...
Armor Lock was a good addition.
I distinctly remember thinking, I like Armor Lock. It's not even that overpowered or annoying. A few people are good enough with it to kill vehicles, but other than that, it's just you need to be slightly patient and be aware of your surroundings, and it's fine. And people didn't shut up about it, and I distinctly remember when 343 took over, and the first thing they did was we're nerfing Armor Lock, and I was like, this does not bode. I was like, that is the beginning move, and I was like, is this going to represent the entire temperature of their whole tenure of running Halo? And I was like, yeah,
and it was.
People complained about Armor Lock so much. I forgot what it was called in the Halo Reach, but there's like, it's not ranked, but it's like there's baby poo poo piss casual, and then there's slightly above it but not ranked. It's like, this is the more serious one. And you start out with
it's just like a different. It's just a different matchmaking.
I remember the one that's a slightly more serious. It's like, Armor Lock's completely removed. Cannot have it on the game. Yeah. It's like, okay, why'd you do that though? No, I remember the funny. Okay, it's like you can. The argument I understand about Armor Lock is, okay, well, I've got this person almost killed. They go into Armor Lock and then their teammates come in. I get it. That's annoying. But I cannot tell you how many times I had a sword or a shotgun and somebody was just sprinting up to me, and I went and held Armor Lock, and they would just be sitting on you, like, okay, I'm just going to sit on... Even though it EMP blasts when it's over, you just EMP blast and the shield's going to... People just did not know.
It's SWAT. I think you're thinking...
No. SWAT is
was no shields.
SWAT was no shields.
Slayer Pro, maybe?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Whatever.
But regardless...
Halo Infinite's going to suck anyways.
It's gonna be awful.
I honestly... Just the fact that... I can't believe that they're trying to continue the year of the grappling hook, too. I mean, I applaud their... I can only applaud this action.
10 years ago.
But, oh my gosh. I just feel like they're chasing every single trend that's existed in the last 10 years.
I've said already, I think that the thing you need to do to really take Breath of the Wild's platforming and climbing stuff to the next level is give Link a hook shot that can hook onto anything. But it's not like, you shoot it and then it, pulls you in and removes climbing.
It's like a swing.
Yeah, it's just whenever you shoot it, that's the length that it is, with a tiny bit of slack, and then you can jump off and swing and release in physics.
It's like the Uncharted grappling hook.
But you can attach it to anything.
But you can't climb up or down.
Or rather, if you do climb up or down it, it takes stamina and it's not instant. It shouldn't. It shouldn't reel you in like hook shots do in other Zelda games.
Yeah.
It should be like
smoke hitting your arm in this process.
It should be like, okay, I want to get straight up there, right above me, and like climbing up this wall and then up a really steep thing. Like it would take too much stamina. But if I could straight line distance to that,
and then
shoot the hook, but you still need the stamina and it still takes time, so it doesn't remove the process.
I never really thought about that.
But then adding in the physics thing of like, I'm on a tall cliff and I want to get down. I'm going to shoot, I'm going to jump off, shoot the grappling hook, catch myself, with all that momentum, swing and fling myself slightly further and land on a river or something, is like, I want that desperately.
Yeah,
that's my number one wish for gameplay of Breath of the Wild 2, other than playable Zelda.
You think we're going to get any gameplay?
Yes.
I think we will.
I think there are people who are hopeful that it's somehow going to get shadow dropped, not shadow, but announced for this fall or this winter.
I think it's going to be spring of next year.
Maybe
that's my guess.
But I think
in the fiscal year, because Nintendo has said this year, their higher ups have basically said we expect more software sales this year than we had last year, Which that was during the freaking pandemic, and they sold 1,000 bajillion copies of Animal Crossing.
Because everybody was locked up and wanted to play Animal Crossing. And that did like quadruple what they were expecting.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I feel like for them to make that kind of announcement, there's got to be something coming out before the end of the fiscal year.
Think about how bad the year was gonna be for Nintendo last year, and then everyone got locked down.
Yeah.
That was gonna be their worst year, like, since probably, like, the mid-Wii U life cycle.
Oh, it was going to be bad.
I mean, hardware sales are still going to be good, because obviously the Switch was always going to be selling better than the Wii U was, but, like, in terms of software sales, they put out, like, 3 games.
Yeah.
They put out 3 games!
It just so happened that one of them was the biggest thing in the world.
I don't know what you're talking about. You know, Pokemon's expansion pack came out during that.
They put out Animal Crossing. They put out a Paper Mario game that they announced a month before it released, and they put out the Mario collection. Those are the 3 things they released last year.
I still find it funny that, like, people were mad when Bill Trinan just, like, walked on and was like, so here's a new Paper Mario. You do a thing, you color some paint. And then, like, people were like, that's it? That's all you're going to do to, like, announce it? And then when they did it for Origami King, it was literally just shadow dropped on their website at 6 o'clock, or, like, 8 o'clock in the morning.
And everybody went mental. Woo! Oh, yeah. I don't think I've heard a thing about it since it dropped.
It's pretty similar.
A lot of people who have never played a Paper Mario game before, or only played Color Splash, were like, "Wow, really great." And you read the reviews, and they're talking about how emotional certain things are, and it's like, I'm not trying to take away the experience or say the game is bad, or people who enjoyed it are silly or whatever. But I saw people writing stuff about, like, I can't believe that a Mario game made me feel something like this, and it's like, you did not play Super Mario RPG or any of the first 3 Paper Mario games. Like, this mid-tier emotional experience is like an unprecedented revelation for you. It's like you just have not played those games.
Realistically, since Thousand Year Door, there hasn't really been anything.
Super Paper Mario is the only one.
I
love Super.
I would also argue that the Mario and Luigi games did more than a lot of those. Like Bowser's Inside Story, which is widely considered to be probably the best of those. Most people say Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story are around equal. I only ever completed Bowser's Inside Story, and that one had some moments that, while not really comparing to anything in TTYD or the original Paper Mario or Mario RPG, it was at least, like, kind of up there.
It's something you wouldn't expect if you've only really played, like Mario Galaxies and stuff.
Oh, yeah, because, oh, Lord. Yeah, the stories in those are so bare bones that...
Well, it's not about the story.
I think, honestly...
Well, yeah, exactly.
That was the gameplay.
This may be a little silly because we're already talking about Nintendo, but I feel like we're going to have the most to say about Nintendo.
For sure.
Let's back up and talk about first... Okay, so Guerrilla Collective already did one of their shows. They're doing 2 events. They announced a bunch of stuff that I haven't looked at yet, so unfortunately... They announced just a bunch of indie games that they're publishing, and I looked at a couple of trailers and some of them looked cool, but unfortunately I didn't look at enough of them to be able to have, like, a talk about them. And we're doing kind of more predictions now anyway. So, hold on. The first big event... E3, I've got the schedule right here. The first big event will be Ubisoft Forward.
Sorry.
Where they announced today...
Another Wii dancing game.
Where they announced today that there will not be any information about that Sands of Time remake.
Wait, really?
Yes.
That was like the one thing I was going to mention.
Still planned for next year, but we will not be showing it at E3. Because after that last showing and everyone said it looks like garbage, they're probably completely redoing the aesthetic and they don't have anything to show.
I mean, that's the best case scenario, honestly.
Rainbow Six Quarantine has been rebranded to Rainbow Six Extraction because, obviously... I wonder what could have prompted that creative decision.
So
Far Cry 6 continues to be not political.
So the question is, will this Assassin's Creed be samurai theme or Roman theme?
Well, I imagine if you do a Roman theme, you can probably reuse a decent amount of the assets
from the Greek one. Yeah,
fair.
That's probably.
I mean, I was expecting the Roman one right after the Greek one.
To be reasonable. It's not like the budget on these Assassin's Creed games is the problem, and they're usually trying to jump all over the place. Yeah. So they may go for the... Here's the thing. I still think it's insane that they haven't done a samurai game. I think it's nuts, and I think that after Ghost of Tsushima
now it looks like they're copying it, I feel like.
No. I don't think they give a crap about copying it. I think they'll go where the money is.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And
I think they might try to be legally distinct and go for a Chinese one, maybe.
They already did that.
Did they?
Nope.
No?
There was a what you call it? It wasn't a mainline Assassin's Creed that was China, but didn't they have like a side-scrolling...
There was a 2D side-scrolling thing, but I believe that was set in Japan, actually.
Was it? Okay.
I got it because it had 3 settings, I remember, that side-scrolling Assassin's Creed game.
Regardless, they can do any of these.
Or they could do Assassin's Creed with guns. Lots of guns.
All the guns. I want to be able to do a gun kata.
Why can't it be set in World War II?
Well, they did that briefly in 2 or 3.
I know.
3, right?
Yeah,
had the World War II flash forward to Paris or whatever.
I think so.
Stealthing in the trenches, baby.
Hell yeah. That's what the gamers crave.
It's the trenches, but then now you have a bunch of buildings in the trenches just so you can jump off of them.
Okay, so I do have
My bad, it was China. Assassin's Creed China, it was China, Russia, and India were the 3 settings of Assassin's Creed Chronicles. So there was one set in China. I thought it was Japan. That was like 10 years ago now, so I do not. Okay, it wasn't even that long ago. It was 2015. That feels like an eternity ago.
That feels
But whatever. I don't know. I do need to give these new Assassin's Creeds.
No, you don't.
I do.
No!
I don't say I'm going to give them money. I need to borrow them from a friend.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I have friends that play it, and they're like, "Oh man, it's good though. It's good this time. It's good this time." I'm like, "Okay, sure." I don't know. I think honestly, the last Assassin's Creed that I really played was Brotherhood. And I really liked it because it was like the second Assassin's Creed I ever played, but it's like that formula just burnt out on me so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is a new formula,
Kind of. It's a new engine or a new gameplay or whatever. They added I saw some kind of thing about they added like some kind of zombie mode or something to Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah.
I saw some kind of post about that. I was like, okay, is anybody playing that video way ago anymore?
I don't.
No. I heard nothing about that.
That game came and went. I think I might know one person who may have it, but I don't.
The weird thing is that Watch Dogs 2 wound up actually making a bit of a splash, and people were like, "Oh, this game's wacky and fun," and like I guess they didn't learn anything from that experience.
That's not. Watch Dogs 2, I ended up playing it, and it's like it had some fun moments. I had a lot of issues with some of the characters. I had a lot of issues with the tone of the game because it kind of like whiplashes you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it was fine. It was fun. There's one section that's it's a game that's supposed to be it's mostly stealth game. It's kind of like an Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
It's like you can go loud but don't go loud. Kind of like Hitman. It's like you can go loud but don't do it.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a section later on in the game where it's like, here's the thing. It's all go loud. It gives you your character and you have a grenade launcher now. It's like, okay, cool. I'm playing this. I'm a good gamer, in my opinion. I'm playing this on normal difficulty. I'm dying immediately because this game's not built for actual like big shoot bang combat.
Yeah.
But whatever. That was at the end of the game. I don't want to talk about this game no more. I don't want to bring anybody's attention to Legion. Let it stay dead.
So noted here, I'm glancing at this article that Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion, and Immortals Phoenix Rising apparently all have expansions on the way.
Why didn't they just keep it? Wasn't it Gods and Monsters originally?
Yeah, I think it sounded too close to Gods and Kings and some other stuff.
That sounds so good though. Like Gods and Monsters was a really good name.
Too late.
Wasn't it? It was literally exactly Breath of the Wild, but it sucked.
No, some people liked it. Some people said it was lame. Some people didn't.
It's out, and the only reason that I even remembered when you said the only reason I can even fit the name to the image is because we were playing Uno last night, and it was like advertising like new Uno expansions, and there was one for that game. I'm like, oh yeah, that game's a thing.
So there were some people who responded to that game with basically that said it has more respect for your time than Breath of the Wild. It has a significantly smaller map, a much higher density of like content, and less space between like puzzles and interactions and quests.
I feel like kind of the main appeal of Breath of the Wild though was just
the solitude.
Was both the solitude and the sense of wanderlust, which I feel like you kind of lose with. I'm not trying to say, bigger...
More mechanically focused.
More mechanically
UI
focused.
pop-ups.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild feels fairly naturalistic in a lot of it. But my point is that a lot of people liked the slightly more focused experience of Immortals, apparently. I read some really negative
There are also
reviews.
people who like Genshin Impact more than Breath of the Wild. So I realize that some people
that's because waifus.
So here's the real thing, right?
Don't worry about the fish waifu or the Zelda waifu though.
Here's the real thing though. We already know that we will not see Prince of Persia, right?
Yeah.
So is there any chance of Ubisoft showing anything unexpected and exciting? Josh and I were literally just talking about the other day how Beyond Good and Evil 2
that game is going to die
will never come out.
No.
Because Michelle Ancel is gone now.
So is there any chance that they'll show like a new Splinter Cell or something?
That would be cool.
No, is there? But I'm saying, is there even a chance of that happening? Though?
That's the only thing that I mean.
Sitting here thinking, it's like, I mean, for a lot of people like the Ubisoft, some of the Ubisoft formula, but it's like for this group of the three of us, I can't imagine that they have anything that would pique our interest in.
Unless it was a Splinter Cell game.
I think
but they'll announce the Division 3, and that'll be the Tom Clancy game.
And it's like,
please God, no.
They're going to announce one or two new
things. Yeah,
it's going to be. This is a brand new.
Will they show Skull and Crossbones, which has been absent for 2 years now?
No.
I think.
Yeah, I hope.
No, I don't think. So. I think it's also not going to appear. After a gameplay demo in 2019, or 2018, I think. Yeah, 2018 they showed a gameplay demo, which was now blatantly fake, I guess, because we haven't seen it since then. I don't think.
Yeah, I was actually kind of excited when I saw that.
I don't know. There's something very cynical in me that says it literally won't show up.
Are we going to get like people in mascot outfits like dancing on stage?
Yes,
we better.
Yes,
that's the only reason I watch their show.
You're right. Is Aisha Tyler going to come back? Is she the one that does that, or did she only do it 1 year?
She did it 1 year.
She did like 1 or 2 years.
I think she did 2 years. Yeah.
Here's the thing that we should factor in is.
Oh wait, will we see another Ghost Recon game?
No.
Because that was the thing she talked about that blew our effing minds, though.
The only circumstances under which we'll say Ghost Recon game is if it's another massive open world checklist thing.
Well, that's
like wild. Yeah, okay, but it won't like an interesting
or a
one.
Ghost Recon crossover with one of their other games.
But here's the thing: is that last Ghost Recon game tanked so hard that they were it tanked hard. Like there was a whole thing where they were like, we are going to completely rethink the brand.
Okay.
Like they were like, we were shutting down a bunch of Tom Clancy whatever, and we're trying to completely reassess it. Which is why I'm saying I don't think we'll see a new one. I don't think that if they announce a Splinter Cell, it will be JPEG of Splinter Cell.
We are going to get a remake of that one Tom Clancy game that you had to buy with the headset to command your squad with the mic.
Oh,
it's going to be a VR experience now. And you're going to use the VR's built-in mic to command your squad.
You know, honestly, yeah, you're talking about this, and I'm thinking about they're trying to completely recontextualize the brand, but they won't have had time to really get things figured out. We will see the Rainbow Six not quarantine anymore, Rainbow Six Extraction. They will announce the Division 3, and there will be an announcement of a remake of some older Tom Clancy game because that's safe. Let's remake something like
Vegas 1 or 2.
And, there will be or like even just like a remaster of Vegas 1 and 2.
That's what I was thinking. And both of them packaged together.
And there will be a JPEG of Splinter Cell.
This is going to be at the very end of their show.
Yes, they'll show the word Splinter Cell on screen,
and everyone will go woo!
But there won't be woo because there won't be much of a crowd. Because I don't know. I think they are letting some people in, but it's like limited capacity, and it's mostly journalists.
It's all
really. I mean, even with
it's
the
CDC journalists, and it's gonna. Was it Bethesda that had all the plants in there to collab for everything?
See, that's the one reason I think there might not be a Dance Central show is like social distance. Sure, people vaccines and things are calming down, but it's like, will there be a rehearsal?
There better be a freaking panda with a rainbow
on it.
Otherwise, I just didn't show up.
There's gonna be a pre-recorded dance video.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking there will be a pre-recorded dance video where most of the dancers dance individually against green screens, and it will be edited together as a big special effects extravaganza. This is what I think will happen.
Oh man! And throughout the video, they're going to show like characters from their properties, like Fortnite dancing.
Yes, they'll have like Sam Fisher Fortnite dancing.
Oh, I hate video games.
Sam Fisher will be stealthily flossing in the background of one of the shots.
I want the Ubisoft conference to just be a picture like of their logo just imploding after all the news from the last 6 months. That's what it should be.
So instead of the normal going after Bethesda, Devolver Digital will be going after Ubisoft this year, and there will be no predictions for what Devolver Digital will do because there's no point.
No. But Jacob, what's Gearbox going to do?
Let's move on to the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase, which will be the next major presentation. We were talking about when you were here last time, Joey, or maybe I don't know, maybe I was talking with both of you, I don't recall, about how the whole thing is going to be weird because normally Bethesda's is like 3 hours long with 20 minutes of content, but now they have to share the stage with Xbox. So what's that even going to look like?
It's going to be a weird amalgam of the two.
You declared boldly Todd Howard will not appear.
He's not going to be there.
Well, because he'll just be destroyed by Phil Spencer's aura.
He is not going to be there. He might show up like in pre-recorded videos saying, "Hello, I am Todd Howard. Buy my game."
Man,
you know what? Sorry, not to derail, but what you just said a second ago. As much as we make fun of and talk about the ridiculous business decisions about what's going on at Xbox and the fact they just can't seem to find the money or the focus to make good exclusive games.
And also, they put all their exclusives on PC as well, which kind of ruins the purpose of their console.
And we make fun of their shows, and we make fun of Phil Spencer. You know what? Honestly, Phil Spencer is one of the most consistently okay, he does a good job on stage.
Yeah, he's a good presenter. That's why I said that Todd Howard would be destroyed.
Yeah, no, you said that, and I was like, you know what? I agree with you because we all talk about Todd Howard's like, it's funny when he gets on stage and he's a decent presenter. And I'm like, you know what? Actually, Phil Spencer consistently does a really good job of headlining those shows.
Well, yeah, because he just gets the information out there and does a decent job.
And he carries himself well.
But there's a talent to that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we've seen all the other bozos that show up on stage, and he's good.
Yeah.
There's a lot,
every single person that Sony has ever had has done a bad job.
You see it in TV commercials a lot.
It's like Mark Cerny, the god who invented Knack.
You see it in Mark Cerny's so awkward, it's so funny anytime he gets on stage. You see it all the time though with like commercials or whatever else where it's like, guy who's like president of company, I'm here in commercial to talk, and it's like, you just want to be on TV. You're not the guy to be doing this. And you see that a bit with these stage presentations and And
you see it at EA conferences quite a bit.
Non-stop at the EA conferences.
I think we're winning.
I think that since they're all so subpar, it's like when the charismatic or interesting people come out, that it's like that.
Yes.
At least I'm not cringing.
It's like but it's like you have that the Ghost Game girl. What was her name?
Go eat speak.
God! Oh right, again, I don't remember her name either. She's not working on Ghostline Tokyo anymore. But she's like, I know who you're talking about.
But it's like when somebody you've never heard of that comes out, it's like they've got that charisma.
And she got like 1 million Twitter followers overnight because she was on stage for 5 minutes. And
she actually did a good job.
It's spooky. Yeah. She was on Twitter. I think something like she was asking how to set up an OnlyFans account or something.
Oh no!
She was joking. She's clearly pretty sharp and likes teasing people. It wasn't literally. It was something it was something with the same vibe as that. She was like, "Can someone please explain to me how to do this?" But it was something funny like that. But anyway, so Halo, they're going to show multiplayer because they're embarrassed of their single player that has bled 2 separate creative directors in as many years.
I don't see how people are. I'm not in any way trying to get mad at people for hype, but at the same time, it's like, I don't understand how people are still going, oh man, this game's going to blow our effing minds.
I don't think a lot of people are. I think most people are really wary of it. I mean, there are people who are like... I think there are people who are cautiously optimistic it'll be better than 5 because it was just kind of a mess. But I don't think anybody's excited for this game, really. They're like, maybe it could be good. They're doing something different.
I obviously don't speak for every Halo fan out there, but it's like, I feel like I'm in a pretty large majority of people, probably like most people started a little earlier than I did, but it's like, 3 and was like the golden era, and then Reach was also the golden era unless you're a loser who hates Reach.
Yeah.
And then it's like after that, it's like 4 comes out, and it's like
falls off a cliff.
Even before 4, it's like none of us were really excited for 4. We were already leery because of all the stuff that came out before it, and it's like as far as like information, how they were approaching the game, and
they were. It was the most reactionary product ever. And it was like, people don't like certain aspects of Reach. We're going to build our entire game making.
And it's like, and then 4 came out, and it's like the multiplayer was it was functional.
That's kind of what people have said about 5 too. It's like the campaign fell even more so off a cliff based on like the few people who have actually played 5 that I know. But they're like, the multiplayer's kind of fun, I guess.
I watched a playthrough of 5 because I did the 4 story and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I thought the new enemies' designs were cool, but that's it.
Dude, they had the best boss in video game history, though.
Oh, the cinematic one at the end?
There where you plant the bomb on the guy and blows up and then he falls off the cliff.
And Cortana says something, and you're like, oh my god, Cortana's gone. And then 5's here, and Cortana's not gone. You're like, oh, I don't care.
Doesn't she die again at the end of 5?
No, she's the bad guy at the end of 5, dude. She's going to be the antagonist of 6.
Oh, that's really dumb.
Halo Man has to save her from herself.
John Halo has to save her?
John Halo or the other one.
Any of them.
The other one.
Or the Barbiter.
So
the Barbator appears very briefly in 5, but he's not a part of the story because I guess Keith David is too expensive.
I was gonna say I was watching the story of 5, and I remember it just kept kind of dragging on and on. And literally the moment that I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, some stuff is gonna." Oh, it's over. Oh, that's the next game.
Sorry, I mentioned Keith David. I was like, you remember when I was showing you clips from Amphibia, and I was like, and listen to this moment where Keith David says a syllable, and he's immediately it's like the most identifiable Keith David has ever been. It's just, like I was like, it literally just you don't even see the character, you just hear like a word spoken, and the word is like finished. You're like, oh my, that's him, obviously.
That's him. It's the boy.
And it's very intense.
What a good voice. There are some really good voices out there, but it's like what a memorable ass voice.
But anyway, so when we were talking about 343 and Halo, I had a horrible thought.
Okay.
Because I thought of Bungie, and I thought, what's going to happen there? I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh no, when was the last expansion for Destiny? They announced Destiny 3. I looked, there's an expansion scheduled for later this year, and also one announced for 2022.
Woo!
So we dodged a bullet there. We'll see a brief trailer for a Destiny expansion that we can ignore. There's not going to be a long-ass, awkward, horrible presentation about Destiny 3 that we all have to suffer through.
Thank God.
So the question is, will we see Starfield bound?
No, Starfield is canceled.
You think so?
No. We're going to see as much as we've seen before. They are going.
It's going to be another pre-rendered JPEG.
It's going to be. Yeah, I'm dead serious. That is my prediction. Is that it's like
it still exists, guys. I swear.
They're going to bring it up and they're going to talk about it for 3 minutes, and maybe they're going to give some information that's supposed to be like a whoa.
It's going to be like the thing that that EA did for all the Star Wars games that were supposedly in development, where like Amy Hennig was like, "Here I am, I'm working at Visceral with the Star Wars game
on a game that's going to get is having all of its." You guys know she's credited as a writer on Battlefield Hardline, right?
Wait, excuse me?
Yeah, because Visceral's resources got taken to make Battlefield Hardline, and she was working there, so she did writing for the campaign of Battlefield Hardline. That's her most recent writing credit. Because she hasn't found another. I mean, maybe she has a job right now. But that's
on topic of that, we're going to see more because I know they announced Battlefield 6 recently, right?
They're going to show a trailer in like 2 days or something.
Yeah, it's like they're going to give us some information, and hopefully they've learned to not say the words Battle Royale on stage this time.
Well, they're not on stage at all because there is no EA event at E3. Right. They're going to reveal Battlefield whatever in a couple of days, and then their event is at the end of the month.
Oh, okay.
They have a separate thing at the end of June.
Because as we all know, everyone loves EA and will tune into their events even if it's not a part of E3. Because
they will.
And
We've established. God, no, that's the point. It's dead. They killed it.
Revival, baby.
They were working on it and they killed it.
Maybe I'm crazy, but me and one of my roommates at college were talking about the fact that all these like sports games that they make are like decreasing quality like on a year by year basis, right? What we were discussing is what they should just do is they should make one sports game every console generation and charge a subscription fee for it. And
they probably make more money.
Yeah.
Well, no. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like you charge a subscription fee for it, and you do graphical updates and a bunch of other things like as it goes on. Basically, just make it a paid subscription service. You pay $60 a year to get access to Madden, right?
Yeah.
And it has a roster update that just happens in July of each year.
And you wouldn't feel as bad about buying it either.
No, because then you could just turn off the subscription whenever you want. Oh, I don't have access to Madden. And you would do like a month-long one or whatever whenever you want to play
There would be more people who like FIFA and Madden, but who haven't touched one because they hate it, and they would be like, maybe I'll buy a copy and I'll play it for a year, and then I'll drop it for a couple, and then I'll pay my $30 fee for a couple months or whatever.
I
they
watch
make
the
more
NFL.
money.
Like I would maybe considering getting a Madden game.
Honestly, surprising that they haven't done that.
It just makes so much sense.
So they haven't even
considered it.
Yeah, it's like they haven't.
It's probably because they're sitting around going, okay, we could make more money, but there are people who will buy it every year anyway, and we know we're making a lot of money. No, we know we're making a lot of money doing it this way.
Maybe that's the thing that's going to happen after, if there is ever a big enough backlash that it's like people.
Well, Madden 21 was huge in terms of the backlash this last year. I want to say it had like the lowest Metacritic score of user Metacritic score of any game.
But none of that matters if the same people are still buying it.
And so here's my thing. It's like once you go to the subscription model, you can't unring that bell. So if it doesn't work and you're making less money, then you're screwed. And it would make more money, but they're not willing to take that risk. It would absolutely make more money.
So I'm thinking if if there's ever something has to change, if that backlash of that magnitude ever happens, then that's what they're going to try.
Mm-hmm.
They probably already have it figured out, how they're going to give it a shot.
Yeah, but they have somebody at the company wrote up a plan and pitched it. It was turned down, but they have it in their back pocket. Anyway, we're not talking about EA. No, I really do remember freaking Jason Schreier tweeted. He's like, you said, "Whoa!" was the tweet, and then it was the Starfield logo, and then it zoomed in, and more, and just said cancel.
That's awesome.
The freaking I don't know. What do we expect from Bethesda and its many vastly superior studios that it owns?
So the same thing. We got the same amount of information for Elder Scrolls 6, right? Where it was just
JPEG.
No. Basically, they said that Starfield was coming out much later, and then Skyrim 6 was coming out very later. That's basically what they said.
So Skyrim 6 is coming out after Starfield?
No.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
after?
Yes.
Oh, I missed that.
Remember that? Basically, they said...
You're right.
They said Starfield is next gen, a.k.a. current gen now, back when they announced it in
2018.
Yeah. And then they said Elder Scrolls 6 is after that, basically.
I forgot that.
So Elder Scrolls 6 is not coming out until 2028. It's literally not going to come out for 20 years after that.
It's going to be bad.
And it's going to be really bad.
Oh yeah, easily.
I just love that I called it was Hammerfell in 2018. I was right. I'm incredible.
Oh my gosh, it's almost like there's only so many famous locations.
And only so many that actually involve humans in that world. And they're like, we can't put it where the elves are.
Dude, okay.
Can't make a game for furries.
So by the way, you know the iceberg meme where it's like you take a property and it's like you have the multiple layers. And it's like, at the most I'd ever seen, a total of the information, a total of the words on it would be maybe 20-something, 30.
Uh-huh.
I saw one for Elder Scrolls the other day that was legit probably about 200 different things.
Yeah.
And it's like the image quality was so low because of everything oh my god.
Oh man, it's beautiful.
None of that matters.
Uh-huh.
I'm still thinking that because Bethesda's been kind of in hot water, and they haven't announced any. Let's bring the old fans back and stuff. I'm still thinking an Oblivion remake, not even remake, port. I'm still thinking an Oblivion, like Skyrim HD.
See that'll be bad because that game barely ran before, and they will not clean it up, and it will run worse than it ever ran before.
I agree.
If they really I would say that the diehard Elder Scrolls fans, for the most part, Morrowind's the game, right? That's the one that everyone goes back to.
Morrowind is the one that it's Oblivion is okay. Whatever. We gotta get some of the old guys back. Just port this game. Morrowind is okay. Crap. We need to actually get some good faith back. That's the game. And
that's why I think they would go for Morrowind more than anything.
See, I don't think they're at that stage yet. I think they're at
They're at denial.
Whatever. Bethesda land, baby, we're the best.
I wonder how they're even gonna work the show Xbox and Bethesda at the same time. Are they just gonna show some Bethesda games? Are they gonna have Bethesda guys come on stage? Really?
Is there going to show up on stage wearing one of those
I was stupid.
No, they're gonna be wearing one big shirt together and have both their heads out.
I wonder if they'll do like normal Xbox show, then midway it'll turn into a Bethesda show for a bit, and then at the end they'll be Phil Spencer will come back on and say it's a great time to be playing on the Xbox ecosystem of consoles, and thank you all for coming. And then there will be the one more thing. But I wonder if it'll break midway and become a Bethesda show. Because it's they'll want to show an Elder Scrolls and Starfield. They'll want us to show Elder Scrolls and Starfield JPEGs. They will want to show off Deathloop because that comes out later this year, and will probably actually maybe be good. I tell you what, I don't know if either of you guys have heard it. The trailer that they did earlier this year had a James Bond theme. And they released it as its own thing, and it's a legitimately. If it was a James Bond theme, it would be in the top 10 James Bond themes, at least top 15. It's actually a quality James Bond theme. And it was it got me more excited for the game than any actual trailer. So that game's probably going to be at least decent. I'm trying to think about. We're not going to see anything from id probably.
Probably not.
Cause I don't know unless
they already had a Doom expansion. They
Prey 2.
They may
Prey 2.
No, Prey 2. Prey 2 2. Prey, and Prey 2. Those are the Prey series.
It's Prey.
They may announce Prey, another reboot.
They already made the one.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Again, there'll be 3 games called Prey.
It's gonna be the Halloween franchise.
Is there?
It's 3 movies called Halloween 2, isn't it?
Yeah. There's three movies called
Halloween.
Halloween.
It's going to be Rambo 2 First Blood 3.
There's two, but we're getting a third, are we not?
Of Halloween?
Yeah, there's another Halloween.
Oh, they're planning a Halloween 2?
Yeah, it's
I didn't know about that.
Two.
So there's going to be three. There's going to be three Halloween 2s.
Yes, that's coming.
Plus Halloween H2O.
Oh,
I forgot about that one.
That was because it was the 20th anniversary of the original Halloween.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not even having to do with water.
don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
There is.
But I'm sure there was probably water in the movie.
They could have just put a submarine in it like 999. God knows that made 999 a lot better.
We could have done Halloween on a submarine like that.
Who knows? They may have at this point. They probably did with Jason. But no, they did it in space. So a spaceship is kind of like a submarine.
That submarine bit from 999 is one of my favorite things to consider when you finish the game and think about like what would have happened immediately after. And you're like, that must have been awkward for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on from that.
So will the word Fallout appear?
No.
I don't think. I think it's too early.
I think unless they like announce a mobile phone game.
They already have one.
They can announce another one. They could announce another mobile phone game or announce like more stuff, or they could announce like some kind of fixes or expansion for Fallout 76. They will not announce Fallout 5.
They're done with 76. That's
they better be.
Are they finished? I thought they announced a new expansion a while ago.
That was the Wastelanders last year.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's I don't. I think they're just going to maintain servers.
See, here's the thing. I think that with them sharing the stage with Xbox, I think that they're going to have to be more under control. Joshua was about to do a finger gun toward himself, and then he pointed it elsewhere because I put the fear in everybody now about finger guns.
Before we started filming this, you started shooting at the ceiling. And
you were like, don't worry, it's just the ceiling, guys. I'm like, it could collapse on us.
Look, here's the fact of the matter, is that at this point, enough finger guns have already been fired that like it's too late to course correct. Like, the rest of human history, too many finger guns have already been fired. It's too late now.
Where's the safest place to go?
Just the middle of the field somewhere.
Antarctica? There was probably like when they put the flag down at the South Pole, there were some guys going, yeah, but that's probably the only ones on the continent.
Underground, any kind of bunker that will like deflect bullets, probably middle of a field. Also,
just 3 riot shields around.
People don't stop and do finger guns in the car very often, so standing in the middle of the interstate. Standing in the middle. But the point is, like, how many because the danger being in the building is the overtime accumulation in so many different directions.
Yes,
standing in the middle of the Autobahn would be the safest place.
Dude, you know the worst place that could possibly happen?
Where?
You're at that train station where they filmed that Xbox commercial.
Oh,
everyone dies.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, no, for sure. That something like that is, or like the set of like that alley from Spaced. If you were in the alley from Spaced, you would be completely eviscerated. Just no one would be alive. You'd melt.
The alley would have the river of blood from The Shining just like come out of it.
Just explode out of it. It would be nuts. The train station where they shot the ill-fated Xbox 360 commercial in the alleyway from Spaced would be the worst spots to be.
I'm trying to think of any other Bethesda stuff. Like, is there any? Like
Starfield.
That's the thing. Is it like they're kind of? It's like some of their other studios. Like we may get a Wolfenstein JPEG, and like they already released the second part of their single player expansion for Doom Eternal, right?
Yeah.
So we won't see anything for Doom. We may get a Wolfenstein JPEG, but like everything that core Bethesda works on, we're just gonna get a JPEG.
No, it's
Deathloop will be the only real thing they have to show it.
It's funny because if they hadn't have partnered with Xbox for this one, they legit would have had nothing.
And it would have been the most insufferable 2-hour show.
They are.
Well, no, what am I talking about? Ghostwire Tokyo's they're publishing it.
Oh, you're right.
We'll see that. We'll get a better look at that. Totally.
They're gonna show off another trailer. They recently, I don't know why I said unleashed. They recently released a new expansion for ESO. I think it was the Oblivion one.
Yeah, now they're doing the second half of that Oblivion one right now.
Yeah.
It's like there's
like the Hellfire expansion.
There's gonna be a trailer. It's not gonna tell us anything, but it's a go buy this trailer.
That feels like something that should not be on a stage, especially if you're sharing it with Xbox. That feels like that should be announced for fans who care, but you shouldn't put it on a stage.
Well,
but
it's
maybe
been getting a lot of marketing.
You're right. If this was
stuff.
a Bethesda exclusive thing, they would do it. But
it might not be on the Xbox stage.
I don't know.
It'll be during the slideshow wrap up at the end, where it shows like 50 different things.
Yes, that's correct. That is correct. It will be featured in the montage at the end. And there will be brief mention when they're talking about when they show their Elder Scrolls 6 JPEG. They'll mention, and also keep in mind we have a new expansion, but they won't show a trailer. They'll just show a JPEG of that as well, where they'll have like B-roll of the trailer they already released on the screen behind them while they briefly talk about it.
Out there prediction: a card game. A Bethesda card game.
Okay, so
there we go.
pivoting to actually interesting.
Will it be a Fallout card game this time?
Actually interesting.
And you'll be able to bet your own bottle caps if you buy if you buy the legendary collector's edition of the card game, you will get 10 bottle caps to bet with your friends.
Have they announced a Forza for the Series S or whatever it's damn called? I literally can't remember. Series X.
Series X.
Series XS?
The Xbox.
No, there's the Series S and the Series X, and those are both.
I still remember
the series.
when the freaking Apple and Epic Games lawsuit was happening. Of the many things that happened, one of the things was like, it was paraphrased, was like a lawyer asked someone from Microsoft, like, is this, can you tell us about like the Xbox system? And they're like, are you talking about, which Xbox are you talking about? What? Are you talking about the Xbox Series X next generation ecosystem, or the Xbox on PC ecosystem, or the Xbox games with the Xbox Live games? And the lawyers, what the f*** are you talking about?
What are you going on about?
This! I'm putting in an Xbox! Anyway.
So how's that trial going? I haven't heard anything about it.
Oh, it's over. At least I think it is. I don't know what the verdict was. I don't think they've reached a verdict. I think the jury's still deliberating on how stupid it is. But I haven't heard anything about it in weeks, and I didn't hear about a verdict, so I assume the jury is still.
I don't understand how
to win on a stupid naming convention, them or Nintendo, which is
I don't know.
I don't know how you could win a Monopoly suit when you show the graph and show that less than 20% of your player base plays on the given platform that you're talking about has a Monopoly. I don't get it.
I don't know.
But, I mean, it is different because it can be taken on the go and played in doctor's offices, unlike a Switch or an Android phone. Right?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Did you see Steam's going to make a Switch-esque PC?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
That is going to fail miserably.
Probably.
No one, like that's the thing, normies don't know, normies do know what Steam is, but people don't care enough about Steam to go buy
No, it's totally different from that. It's that, like, okay, I want to play a PC game, right?
I'm going to play it on PC.
I'll buy a damn PC.
Yeah.
Unless it's super cheap.
Yeah, but it's not going to be.
It's not going to be.
It's going to be custom-made hardware that Steam is producing.
It's going to be like $500.
It's not like it's going to be mass-produced by Amazon and squirted out for ludicrously cheap or whatever. It's going to be this luxury item Steam has created. Anyway.
I wish I could play games on PC that weren't Minecraft or Doki Doki Literature Club.
Joey's PC is not of very high quality.
That was my stimulus check going to good use.
I had to download Firefox just to use Roll20 because it stopped working on the Chrome.
Audible sigh.
Agreeable grunt.
Yeah, but we may see Ninja Theory or whichever one they are, the Hellblade guys.
That's Ninja Theory.
Yeah, we may see whatever it is that they're working on. That's something that I'm at least vaguely interested in.
Maybe they'll be making a remaster of DMC Devil May Cry.
It's hard to predict what we will or won't see at the Xbox show, since now they're just going to show whatever, since the Sony show doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And I can't think of what big exclusives they have in the pipeline, because they don't have any.
Halo!
I know, it's just Halo.
It's Halo.
It's Halo and maybe a new Forza.
But okay,
that's it.
Briefly back on the topic of Halo, it's going to be multiplayer, period. They're going to show multiplayer.
Probably.
What stupid multiplayer gimmick is going to turn everybody off from it?
Grappling hook.
Kill streaks? They kind of already have kill streaks, though.
Really?
Yeah, you can I think so, don't they? They have some kind of like point streak thing where you can like spawn in power weapons or whatever.
Check.
Oh my god, they did that before, didn't they? It was something like that. Because I remember, in my mind's eye, I can remember one multiplayer map from it, and I can remember like an LMG that is like.
So here's the thing: see, a lot of the stupid things I can think of that they could do that would turn people off, they won't do because they're trying to push Halo as esports or whatever. So a lot of them, I think about them implementing wacky Uncharted 3 shenanigans as like a stupid thing they can put in. People would hate, but they won't do that because they're trying to push esports.
It doesn't matter; they're still going to put in that grappling hook. Because it's been in all the trailers.
That probably will be the thing, but it'll probably be like an awful.
For anyone who doesn't know, Uncharted 2 kind of had this, but Uncharted 3 really pushed it, which is active elements on the map. So, like for example, on Uncharted 2, if you're on the village map based on Tenzin's Village, midway through the map, a tank would appear and roll through the map. It rolled through a very controlled section of the map, and everyone expected it. But midway through the clock of the 10-minute round map, The tank would roll out, it would drive around, and it had a machine gun that would shoot at people, and you could get run over and killed by it or killed by the machine gun. It also destroyed a number of pieces of cover on the map. It just removed them, and also the wall that it bursts through collapses behind it so you can't get out of the map, but an RPG appears, and that's the only RPG on the map. There's only the RPG spawn, so like the RPG isn't on the map until midway through.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was, there's stuff like that, and then there's one that was set at like the train wreck, and like midway through the map, a blizzard would blow in and really reduce visibility, and like that was cool. Uncharted 3 went really far with this, and like there were a lot of maps that had wild active elements. Like there was an armored car that would drive through London streets map. There were other stuff, but and there was a map based on the underground train station where Marlowe's like whole hideout is, but the lights are turned on, so it looks a little bit different. But midway through that match, it would go, uh-oh, the train's arriving, and both teams would have to get to the side of the map to get onto a train. I mean, I think like maybe just you got warps to it, I don't recall, but maybe there's a bonus if you got to it manually. Everyone would be warped to 2 trains that were adjacent to each other, and it would be the train level from Uncharted 2, except you could jump in back and forth between 2 different trains, and there were interiors and exteriors and tops, and you were there for like 2 minutes or whatever of the match.
That's pretty radical.
It was pretty wild. And I haven't seen any game do anything that nuts with its multiplayer ever since.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, as you're saying that, it's like, I can't think of like an FPS of any capacity that has like stage hazards that appear and like drastically change the map. The closest I can think of was Battlefield's Levolution. God.
Oh man, Levolution. But that was more or less player triggered.
Yes, exactly. But it's like, that's the closest I can think of.
You can blow up that building, bro.
Wow, it means there's a section of the map that's totally uninteresting because it has to be 2 different things and it can't have that much going on. Oh boy, what a great game. That Battlefield 7 or whatever that's coming out is going to be...
So what other... Oh, I guess Xbox will probably see Everwild, that Rare game.
Right. I saw a trailer for another game that I thought, is this the Rare thing? And it was about.
No,
Everwild. We'll see that.
I'm googling that.
You're right.
What you're talking about.
It's a new like multiplayer. Isn't it?
Multiplayer?
I'm pretty sure it's kind of similar to Sea of Thieves. Maybe it's single player. I don't know. I thought it was like Sea of Thieves, but on the land and Ghibli looking.
Well, it looks Ghibli.
Maybe I've forgotten the details.
I don't know whether it's single or multiplayer.
I thought it was a whimsical multiplayer adventure through the magical countryside, but I guess I'm forgetting. What's the name of it again?
Yeah, Everwild. Yeah, I'm seeing this and I don't recognize it, so I guess
it only showed up at 1 E3.
Okay. In the sea of other games,
I think it was shown 2 years ago, and then it showed up in like the highlight reel.
It was shown in 2019. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everwild Eternals, is that the name of the game? Or is that just the name of the trailer was Eternals? Doesn't matter. That'll show up, you're right. We will see that. And we'll see other indie stuff that they pull out, and we'll see some other stuff that isn't even an Xbox exclusive, but just went up on the stage because it's the stage now. Because that's the way that it is. Yeah, Everwild Eternals trailer.
Oh, apparently Rare has described that you will form symbiotic relationships with animals. And so one of you, what happens to one of you will affect the other. You must understand this.
Thank you, Joe.
Just like
I knew you were going
there.
there. I knew you were going there. They really don't. It's actually not a symbiotic circle because one of them is on the they're literally
on opposite.
When he says the quickest way to the Naboo is through the planet core, that means that they're on the opposite sides of the planet from each other.
Shut up.
That's not.
Excuse me, are you the princess? I don't think so. Are you Boss Nass? Are you Sir Boss Nass? I do not think so. Man, he really thought that kids would love that. The head shake and the spit all over the place thing.
I sure did.
George is a genius.
No, my favorite character was the Middle Eastern junk dealer.
People say there's not enough Asian characters in Star Wars, and they forget about Duke Gunray. We were not informed of any ambassadors. Anyway, let's move on. I don't think we have much more to say about Xbox because it's just you can't guess. So let's just move on.
I mean, we've talked about all of the like first party IP.
Square Enix, which we were very excited about until they announced what they were doing, and it's going to be nothing. They announced they will show Life is Strange 2 Colors, Life is Strange Remastered Collection, and the Black Panther expansion for Marvel's Avengers, baby.
That's my favorite game.
Alright.
Is there a single person on the way? He's going to protect the children. Is there a single person on Earth who cares about that game anymore?
I have one friend who kept being like I kind of want to get the game. I went, no, you don't. No, you don't. And I sent him a video. He's like, you're right, I don't. He's like, but I kind of want to play. I went, no, you don't.
I firmly believe
able to get him to be like, no, this game looks trash.
I firmly believe there are people who enjoyed it, liked playing the single player campaign, and were like, it's too bad that it sucks. I wish it was better.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if an expansion is going to fix the game's problems. So I don't know how excited they are for an expansion.
No.
Because like the game has core systems level problems.
Now, how much do you get to play as him, and how much do you get to play as Meat Fingers Mick, whatever her OC name is?
You lost me entirely.
There's the OC in it.
Do you mean Kamala Khan?
Yeah.
She's not an OC.
She's not?
She's from the comics.
Really?
What are you talking about?
She seemed like an OC because all the intro of that game is just her being like, oh my gosh.
Okay. Because Marvel, so there's this whole thing, like I saw tweets going around about how like Demon Slayer outsold the entire American comics industry last year.
Yeah.
And someone made a point about how the American comics industry will learn absolutely nothing from this. And so the point comes back to Alita, Battle Angel, and Captain Marvel premiered in the same year. Not Miss Marvel, but Captain Marvel premiered in the same year. And here's the problem. If you say, I want to read Alita Battle Angel, where do I start? Volume 1, Chapter 1. I want to read Captain Marvel, where do I start? Kill yourself.
Yeah.
Sure, you can go read issue 1, but she probably appeared in other comics before that in plot lines that have been set up for 20 years. And how do you even go find issue 1 of Captain Marvel? And there's 16 different continuities that feature her. So what does it matter, right?
Yeah, because wouldn't Kamala Khan show up first? Okay,
no. Captain Marvel did appear first. Kamala Khan.
No. I'm saying, when did she appear first?
She appeared as part of the reason I bring that up is because one of the issues of Marvel Comics is while they introduce new characters and sometimes new continuities, they also have a persistent continuity where miraculously none of their characters age significantly, right? Okay. But this means that you need to be able to introduce new characters somehow, and where do new characters with new superpowers come from? How can someone just appear spontaneously who has superpowers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the entire...
Well, usually they're in New York.
Sure. And she was in New Jersey. This is where the Inhumans thing comes from. Joshua, you're familiar with in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because we watched a bit of that.
Yeah.
You remember they got to a plot line where basically, like, a bunch of the Inhumans crystals got, like, dumped in the ocean?
Yeah.
And then they wound up in, like, some fish product, so they got distributed, and they were in a small enough dose that it didn't kill non-Inhumans people, but it did, like, activate the powers of people who did have the Inhuman genes, right? Joey, for anybody else who isn't familiar, there's a whole thing within Marvel where there are people who are called Inhumans who are basically completely normal, but they have trace genetic DNA from ancient superheroes, right?
Okay.
And when exposed to
magic rock,
when exposed to meth, they spontaneously turn to stone and crystallize. But then when it breaks away like a cocoon, they've metamorphosized and they have abilities. In some people, this manifests physical changes and they become freakazoids, and other people they look exactly the same, but they just awaken to superpowers that in many cases they are not immediately capable of controlling because they're just spontaneously appearing in adults, right? It's fairly interesting. And there's the issue of people who are not who don't have this gene, when they're exposed to the meth and they crystallize, they just crumble because their bodies can't take it. So a couple people get killed using this process. Anyway, there was a whole thing in Marvel Comics where we need to create new characters. So I don't know if the Inhumans have existed for 50 years or not. I have no idea. But I suspect, knowing what I do about writing, why this happened. There was a pterogenesis wave of cloud of meth gas.
We are coming in waves.
It spread across significant portions of the planet that wasn't lethal, so it didn't kill like the whole planet. But it meant that basically anybody out there who had latent Inhuman genes got, which meant, great, we now have an excuse to spontaneously say, oh, there's a new superhero. Where'd they come from? Oh, it was when the pterogenesis genetic meth wave hit the planet. They got some powers. And they've been keeping it secret until now, but now I've invented them, so they're in the plot. Kamala Khan was part of that. She's a teenager from New Jersey. She got super stretchy powers. She is, in canon, already a teenager and superheroes already exist in the world, and she is a fan of the Avengers and of Captain Marvel.
It felt...
Oh, no, for sure.
It felt so OC. It felt so, I'm going to bend over and suck my own penis.
There's a bit of energy of it to that with the character, but it's intentional. It's not meant to be like it's not like the people at Crystal Dynamics who wrote the game created that to be fangirls or fanboys or whatever. It is literally that the writers are writing 50 years, they're in comics that have been around for forever, and it's like, it'd be, there would be fanboys and girls
Yeah.
in this universe, and wouldn't it be kind of neat if one of them became a superhero? I like Kamala Khan I haven't read a lot of her stories or whatever. I don't read a ton of comics, but like she's an interesting enough character. I think she's kind of neat, and I think that's fine. But in the Avengers game, instead of doing the entire meth wave covering the planet because that's kind of stupid, instead the Avengers helicarrier is powered by the meth gas, and she's there for for Avengers Con for A3. And for the Avengers, Avenge. God, somebody tell me what A3 stands for instead of Electronic Entertainment Expo. What's A3?
Avengers, affability. Give me something that's like an expo.
Yeah, you're there. We just need the last word.
Association.
Yes. No, that's not quite. That's close. That's closer. We're close. Avengers affability something.
1 second, I'll go on thesaurus.com.
This is it. We're close. We almost have it. Anyway, when the Avengers affability association gets attacked and the helicarrier explodes and destroys half of San Francisco and crashes into the bay, Kamala Khan is there and it starts leaking the meth gas and she inhales some of it and that's how she gets her superpowers in the game.
Okay.
Anyway, no, she's not an OC. She wasn't concocted for that game. She is a character. She's one of their, as far as I can tell, again, not being heavily invested.
The only one on here is appearance.
Sure, that can work.
The Avengers affability appearance.
Yeah, because they're projecting an appearance. They're all they're all war criminals, actually.
Yeah.
That works. That's fine. But anyway.
It's like they went and like helped out with like after a tornado went through a town, they went and like cut down some trees and they were like, see, we're helping.
Yeah, this is our affable appearance.
Thor took his axe and sliced through a tree. He was like, I'm helping, guys. And they flew away.
Precisely. Thor, you could have showed up during the thunderstorm and stopped the thunder from destroying the city.
I was too busy playing Fortnite.
I was making out with Natalie Portman at the time.
Well, rather, he was actually sad about not making out with
Natalie Portman. My bad.
And playing Fortnite.
Yeah. He was flossing his God of War, man.
It's hard for him to floss with a huge gut, though.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to floss. He would play as Kratos, though.
Yeah,
he would play as Kratos in Fortnite. He would feel.
And he would only use melee weapons.
He would feel a certain kinship with Kratos. But anyway, yeah, that was so anyway, point being, we were talking about the Wakanda expansion for this, and the Spider-Man expansion that will never come out. That was going to be PlayStation exclusive and will absolutely never happen. Because this expansion is going to be bad and not sell, and the whole thing will be canceled.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on, I need to pull up real quick, because for anyone who doesn't know, the development situation going on with Square's Western offices is weird right now.
Is it?
Yeah, so hold on, let me pull up Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, because those are the two big studios, right? So Crystal Dynamics did the Avengers game, which was a bit weird because they were busy doing the Tomb Raider games, right?
Yes.
They were doing the Tomb Raider reboots, among other things, but those were some of the games they were working on. Hold on. I'm trying to pull this damn thing up. Thank you. Down to the bottom. Let's go. They've been around for a while. They made a lot of video games. I want modern. Thank you. All right. So yeah, so they did Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider, which was the second one, right?
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shadow was the third one. Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
I go back to that and it's like, man, this trilogy's weird. And it's Shadow of the Colossus, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and Shadow of the Hedgehog.
Precisely. Let me pull up. Hold on. Eidos Montreal. So for whatever reason, I assume just maybe they bid for it, or maybe it was thought that they were better suited to the type of game, or whatever. But Crystal Dynamics made the first two of the Tomb Raider reboots, and then they were like involved on Shadow of the Tomb Raider. But Shadow of the Tomb Raider was primarily developed by Eidos Montreal. Now, for those who don't remember, Eidos Montreal made Deus Ex Human Revolution, which lit the world on fire. Then they made Thief, which no one cared about, the Thief reboot, which no one really played or cared about. And all the Thief fans were like, this is an insult to Thief. And then they made Deus Ex Mankind Divided, which was apparently decent, but nobody played it. It did not do well.
Yeah, I know exactly one person who's a fan of Thief. And he was like, yeah, play this, and he gave me the game. I think I still have it at the house somewhere. Never touched it.
So Mankind Divided did not sell well, and this was after Square Enix, in their brains, were setting up. They were promoting the Deus Ex universe and all of the interconnected intermedia after Human Revolution did so well.
We gotta make the DECU.
So Deus Ex: Mankind Divided came out in 2016 and kind of tanked. After that, the only things they released were 2017, like kind of spin-offs, the VR like kind of big component of Mankind Divided, and like a mini game, right? Then in 2018, 2 years after Mankind Divided, they are Shadow of the Tomb Raider in collaboration with Crystal Dynamics, is the way that Wikipedia frames it. Because I want to say Crystal Dynamics started working on it, then they stopped and they went over to do Avengers, and they were like a support team for Eidos Montreal. Okay. I don't know why. As far as I know, it's never been publicly discussed. However, after Shadow of the Tomb Raider, or also in the midst of it, kind of probably, Eidos Montreal. Shadow of the Tomb Raider came out in 2018, right?
Okay.
Eidos Montreal isn't credited on anything else except for Marvel's Avengers, where they were then in reciprocation, I guess, support work for Crystal Dynamics working on that, right? Okay. However, that's not the whole studio. They got to be working on something else. The rumor mill, not a rumor mill, it's basically confirmed, is they're making a Guardians of the Galaxy video game.
I've been hearing about that, but
I
don't know where that info came from.
Which I guess means that the Walt Disney Company, despite having absolutely no idea what the hell is going on with Kingdom Hearts and actively destroying the franchise, are happy enough with their partnership with Square that when they were shopping around for for Marvel video game partnerships and going, this whole EA thing really didn't work out. But hey, we did this one other. I guarantee you, there was a guy sitting in a room going, "Oh man, this EA Star Wars thing is terrible. What are we going to do about the Marvel thing? Who are we going to? I don't understand anything about video games. I thought EA was the big good ones. What do we do?" And then someone said, "Well, we could, we worked with Square Enix in the past on Kingdom Hearts." And then everybody else at the table went, "The what?"
No, and then they looked, and then they saw the sales numbers for like Kingdom Hearts in the past. So they just looked up the series, and they were like, "That's a lot. That's a big number. That's like over like 10 million for the series. That's probably pretty good."
The numbers, I mean, to be fair, the numbers on Kingdom Hearts are pretty good.
Oh, I know.
The first two games sold very well.
And the man didn't go far enough to see all the spin-offs. He literally just looked at KH1 and 2 and said, "Oh yeah, they're making 3, right?"
Here's the thing: per unit, for hardware, Days and Birth by Sleep did quite well for themselves.
Quite well, I know.
And Dream Drop did fine. The only one that was really oh, that didn't do so well was Coded, and that's because it came out on the DS, in the same year that the 3DS released, I think.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter. And even Kingdom Hearts fans were like, "I read the translations of the Japanese cell phone game. I don't care about this." And even DDD did fine. Yeah. It didn't do nearly as well because the 3DS sold like crazy, and it sold significantly less units than Birth by Sleep, but it still did fine. It was a consistent downward trend with the series, with a sharp drop for Coded, then back up for DVD.
All they had to do to make Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop since a good name was to change the name to Kingdom Hearts CDD, Call of Duty Dog.
Anyway,
that video is gone, and it really makes me sad. Someone has it somewhere.
Of the many Machinima videos that died when they took down Machinima, the fact that we lost Call of Duty Dog is
only the trailer is still around.
It's deeply disappointing that we don't have either of the Call of Duty Dog videos. Anyway, I suspect that with them freaking out about we thought EA would do a good job, but clearly they don't even a different president came in who doesn't like it, and they literally got us in international news about child gambling crimes, and they've only put out 2 games.
That's the most baffling part about the whole thing, is that it's only 2.
Yeah, now 3, but at the time frame that I'm framing it as only 2.
Yeah, one of them's a sequel. Yeah. To their own.
Yeah. Anyway, and
one of them. Never mind. Go ahead.
No. Say what you're gonna say.
Say what you're gonna say.
It's like one of them. The sequel is what got them into hot water in the first place.
That first game had 4 maps, and it had a $50 expansion that I think added 2 or 3 maps.
Yeah, it did. It added Jakku.
It added Jakku? No, Jakku was in the game by default.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, Jakku was one of the 4 maps.
What got added?
No, Jakku got added for free.
That's
a few months after.
Yeah, because the movie
came out. But that was free, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
The DLC was Bespin, Sand Planet from Rogue One.
From Rogue One?
Yeah, and that was the last expansion, because it was a year later after people stopped caring when Rogue One came out.
Sand Planet from Rogue One?
Beach Planet.
Oh, Beach Planet.
Sorry, I said sand because it's coarse and rough. I focused on the coarse and rough and irritating part that gets everywhere. And there was one other map that was in the expansions. I think, but I can literally only remember Bespin and
yeah,
Beach
I knew
Planet.
Bespin got added.
I don't even remember what the other one was. Doesn't matter. Oh, they added the Death Star map.
Oh yeah.
Which was like, it was the interior phase and exterior phases of the Death Star. That was the other thing in the expansion. 3 maps they added.
Congratulations.
3 maps, boys.
Wow.
Enjoy your $50 expansion.
Big wins.
God, you pay $15 and get like 10 maps in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And the game starts with 20. Anyway.
I still don't, like, it's hilarious to me that Call of Duty's only, like, well, I'm not saying only direct competition, but main direct competition is Battlefield, and it's just the most incompetently run series in history.
Listen, I'm not, again, we crapped on Battlefield last time, and it's not like those games are the worst ever, but it's embarrassing.
It's funny to me that that's the only, like, even comparable level of, like, popular direct
And I think Call of Duty is embarrassing and poorly managed, so that should tell you something.
Yeah. Hey,
anyway.
As we've said many times in the past, at least in Call of Duty, it feels good to shoot the gun.
Have they announced the new Call of yet?
No, they have not.
Do you think that's going to happen?
I think they're really, really focused on these Warzone expansions.
And then I think it's gonna. Well, no, because now it's not Treyarch anymore. Whoever makes the Black Ops games now, it's them running it now. And so
that's my point. Is that I think they're trying to create. I think they're realizing that maybe the 1 year thing is wearing people out, and people are excited about Warzone. So they're trying to build a continuous ecosystem, which really the new games are borderline expansions for this Warzone ecosystem.
I think Modern Warfare 2 is still going to get announced for this year.
I hope not.
I really hope not, but it's going to happen.
I really hope it does.
Activision likes money.
So
do their Chinese
Modern
overlords.
Warfare 2 multiplayer.
It's too bad.
They gave us Modern Warfare 2, but they didn't give us. They gave us Modern Warfare and gave us multiplayer for it.
Yeah, and it's great.
It's really and you know what? I'm pleased. I'm taking it all the way to the bank because I love Call of Duty.
I almost never like.
But that's how I am with Modern
I know you
Warfare
are,
2.
and I'm laughing at you and everyone else who likes 2 more. I'm enjoying myself.
No, dude, Modern Warfare 1, that was like one of the few shooters that I actually like got friends together and we went and played that online during high school.
Mm-hmm.
We'd all have silenced M4s and just like sneak and then just like flank people from around the map and no one could see us on radar. It was super fun.
When you all coordinate like that, you can do some.
We would literally just be like, okay, our 2 teammates are fighting over there. We're just gonna loop around this way and completely team wipe.
I think everybody who has played it knows this, but you can do some real filth in Modern Warfare 2. It's a lot of fun.
The missile silo map, if you can do some hard flanks in that map, and it's great.
The Riot Shield has never been better in any video game than
it's the best
Modern
one.
Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2's Riot Shield is unfair.
The one in Warzone is actually insanely
Well, it's also fun to use. The sound. We've talked about this also before. Call of Duty's sound design is always impeccable.
Yeah.
And it sounds bizarre. The feeling of being shot at while holding the Riot Shield is satisfying.
It's so good.
You like absorbing the bullets. It's fun.
And it's like, you can barely see at this point because it's riddled with bullet holes, but you make out the outline if it was shooting you, and then thunk, and it's like, and you see him try to run, and then thunk, and
he just ragdolls.
It's so good.
Anyway, so
I think the one in Warzone takes like 4 hits, and it's depressing.
Eidos Montreal is now probably working on this other Marvel game. So I guess I guess their Western studios are tied up on all this, and the problem with that is that Crystal Dynamics is presumably just for trying to fix and expand Marvel because it's such a big investment that they can't not. And Eidos Montreal is, I mean, maybe the Guardians of the Galaxy game will be good. I have no idea. Eidos Montreal is a good studio. Maybe it'll be fun. It probably won't be like, I don't think they'll make the mistake of making it a weird grind-a-thon active live service thing. I think it'll probably just be a fun single-player campaign, hopefully. That's the type of stuff they build. That's everything they've made.
It's like, for Marvel and Star Wars, it's like, these are 2 IPs, it's like, all you have to do is release something competent.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's just been embarrassing.
You don't have to do
You know what? You
weird.
can make an argument that Fallen Order was not competent on the technical end, and it was still fine.
It was still a really good game.
It was kind of a technical disaster, and it was still good, and it still sold 10 million units.
They were bands.
That's because EA probably forced them to hit a lot of like graphical requirements.
No, I think it's as simple as it's a bunch of FPS guys making a third-person action game. I still remember an interview where someone from Respawn was like, "We were really excited about this because Respawn is a studio. We are exactly the right studio to make a third-person melee combat action game." And I was like, It's one of those famous talks. They're like TED Talks, except they don't really make any sense.
It's like literally with Guardians of the Galaxy, just release a game that is get a game that's like 7s across the board, and it's
7s across the board, exactly,
and you're good. That's all it takes.
I think about all these companies giving Metacritic bonuses if they're over 85 or 90 or whatever, and I'm like, nah, dude, you should target that 70 Metacritic every time.
Because it's
just go for it.
If it's a unheard of game and it's 70 Metacritic, then it's like you probably made more money than it took. But it's like if it's this big of an IP, as long as it's just competent, people are gonna buy it and they're gonna be like, wow, this one doesn't suck like the Star Wars ones and the Marvel one that you did before.
Square Enix will probably surprise us and show brief glimpses.
Babylon Fall, maybe?
They said they're going to show Babylon's Fall, that Platinum Games thing they're working on, and they'll probably it won't be a reveal or anything, but they'll briefly remind people, hey, Intergrade is out, and they'll play the UV DLC.
Be like a. You think there will be gameplay for Babylon Fall, or just like a CG trailer?
I have no idea.
We've already gotten a big CG trailer, so if they show another one, then that's a little troubling.
But they haven't announced we'll show anything. Like the announcement sounds like they were trying to say, hey, guess what? We won't show a ton. So maybe they're trying to maintain they're trying to keep expectations measured, right? And they did the separate Dragon Quest event that was geared towards Japanese audience, like it was like a couple weeks ago. And Sony hasn't announced whatever they're doing, but surely they're doing something. Yes. So it would not be stunning if Sony was like, we want to show FF16 and not Dragon Quest, the Project Luminous game.
Oh, Project Athea or whatever.
Yeah, it has a real name now, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if that's a PlayStation exclusive or not, but PlayStation maybe show that at our thing in a month.
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if that's why most of the big Square things are being held back.
And they might show a gameplay trailer for an in-engine story trailer for Endwalker, kind of like they did at E3 for Shadowbringers a few years ago, where it's not the CG trailer, but they did the Fan Fest to do all the major coverage, so they may just show one trailer. I don't know. So I hope that we will see a teaser for Part 2 of 7 Remake, and I would love to see 16, but I think we're probably not going to see it for another month.
I think 7 Remake Part 2 is going to be late 2022, early 2023 release.
Oh, I don't think it's coming out next year. I think that's ridiculous if people expect that. Yeah, and no, there's no way it's coming out next year.
2.5 year dev cycle with reused assets?
I don't think they can reuse a lot of assets. I think there's not a damn tree in the entire first game.
I mean,
Junon is a 5-minute parade sequence.
Yeah, it's going to be 10 hours in the freaking remake.
I think if they're smart, it won't be. I think it'll remain short, and they won't spend time on that city because they need to get through more of the story.
No, see, I think they will just because that's a place where they can reuse a lot of assets from Midgar.
Maybe, but I honestly think they're they only have so many games. They can't spend. I think they know that if they spend 10 years doing this, they're going to start. This is not going to be as profitable, and they need to do it quickly. Midgar makes sense. I haven't made a video about it, but I've talked with you before, Joshua, about how if they had trimmed the whole first game down and cut as much unnecessary stuff as they could, and I was let's pretend that every unnecessary area we convert into asset development dollars, and we try to create a comparable space from the original game. And it's if you cut everything unnecessary from Remake as it currently exists, and you said, and all the unique assets from that sequence were made into other unique assets. There's other programming where there's also I'm not even factoring enemy design, cutscenes, music. I'm not factoring in anything else you have to do. I'm probably programming for completely different types of gameplay and for world map and whatever. I'm just saying raw asset creation. If there were no other factors involved, by my approximate calculations, I still think you would barely get to the gold saucer if the first game had just gone as far as it could. Yeah, that's not even halfway through the damn. You don't even finish disc 1.
I think they wouldn't have gotten past the liner. I think they would have gotten.
I've thought about it a lot. I think that they wouldn't get to the end of disc 1. They'd get Gold Saucer, maybe Cosmo Canyon would be the finale.
Yeah,
and that's not factoring in anything else. And creating one industrial zone where you can recycle elements of another industrial zone is not the same development time as creating Cosmo Canyon.
And that's the thing. It's looking at that game. There's only really the disc changes besides the end of the Midgar sequence. The disc changes, the end of the flashback in Calm, and that's basically it. Those are really the only good stopping points where you could end a full game.
Remake Part 1 has 4 skyboxes.
Yeah.
Under the plate, at plate level, in the tower, very ending of the game when it gets weird.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Those are four skyboxes in the whole game.
Yeah, no, but it's like the second game has to get to Temple of the Ancients, because if they don't get to Temple of the Ancients, where's the resolution of anything?
Where's GameStop?
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, I'm not Temple of the Ancients.
City of the Ancients.
The Forgotten City, yeah. I mean, I guess you could do Temple of the Ancients, but that would just be weird.
A weird cliffhanger.
Yeah. But yeah. And yeah, that's a whole nother thing of what they're gonna do there.
Yeah, see, I think that they're gonna be like, okay, FF7 is this really huge, weird game, and you can run all over the place. I think each section of that map is gonna get turned into a specific chapter with maybe a brief world map interlude, and Junon is gonna be done quickly, not a huge city you can explore.
I mean, I hope so. I was just saying that if they're trying to get it out fast.
I mean, they can do whatever they want. What we will probably see at this event is all that, like that mobile phone game crap.
Oh god!
They'll probably show that. We'll probably get a better idea of whatever Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis actually is. They'll probably talk about that.
You have to sign up for the beta.
My phone can't run First Soldier.
It will, though.
I don't think so.
We will rebuild it.
You don't have to run it. You just have to run the promotion. Get paid.
They're not offering promotions. It's an open beta. Listen. If Square Enix wants to send me money to play Final Fantasy VII First Soldier and a phone to play it on, I will absolutely do it.
And a phone to play it on. You're like, please give me a new phone, Square.
I like my phone. I don't care. I need to get a new phone relatively soon, just because this one is starting to have issues. But like, I'll do that. And then if Square wants to pay me to play, if Square wants to pay me to become a First Soldier streamer, I'll do it.
Hell yeah!
I'll absolutely do it. Contact me, Square Enix.
Okay. Let's just go ahead and move on to Nintendo. All these other companies are
hopefully we'll see some cool stuff. But Square could be disappointing this year. PC gaming show.
No.
Whatever.
Moving on.
Nintendo Direct. Nintendo.
Are we getting the next Smash character?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Well, this is the last
Master Chief.
Master Chief.
This is the last. They'll reveal him at the Microsoft event, and then Sakurai will talk about it during the Nintendo event, where he will also announce his retirement.
Yeah. I could see that happening.
It
would make sense if it's going to be Master Chief. They would do it.
Are there 3 characters left?
I want to say you're right. Is there 2 or 3?
This is the last one. I think. Yeah. They're going to announce a new Smash character. Obviously. They'll announce a new Smash character. That one's a foregone conclusion. I'm going to make a couple of bold predictions right now, okay? No Metroid.
Well, of course not.
No Bayonetta 3.
Of course not.
I'm kind of thinking about the second one.
I will firmly state no Bayonetta 3.
You just want all the members of the former Zaibatsu to be sad.
I want the There Is No News Twitter account to go on for another year. Because it's really funny. And I really like it. And seeing Bayonetta and Sean sitting there behind the desk and it says, "There is no news," is very funny to me. And I want that to just continue to be a thing for a while.
What about SMT?
They already showed more stuff about that.
They did? When?
Well, there were leaks. There were story leaks happening.
Oh, okay.
So I'm guessing there's going to be a trailer shown.
No, I was actually about to say, you remind me. I wasn't going to say it, but you bring that up. I think we will see Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yeah.
Specifically because the Persona team, whatever that director's name is, he's working on that fantasy RPG that, I don't know if you know about this. The main director of Persona is working on Persona 6 right now, because there is a fantasy RPG project, like a traditional fantasy RPG, new IP, which apparently the team's called like Fantasy Zero or something like that. It seems like it's more or less the entire Persona team, after finishing on Royal, is probably working on this new IP.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, props to them.
Yes.
Because I cannot see working on another Persona game right after the 8-year-long development of the 2 freaking Persona games.
So this is an issue though, because they announced this and showed like concept art, I want to say like 5 years ago at this point. But to be fair, it's because I think it was just in pre-production basically until Persona 5 came out, and probably it didn't have a full team until Royal came out.
Yeah.
Because, we make jokes about Royal, but there is a lot of new stuff in it, and I imagine there are a lot of people working on it. So I don't think it was probably in full development until maybe a year and a half ago, maximum. So I don't think we're going to see anything about it anytime soon. But with that in mind, what else does Atlas have going on? What's the Shin Megami Tensei team up to? Yeah. I didn't think about it until you mentioned that, but I think it is actually very likely we will see Shin Megami Tensei.
There's also been a bunch of
especially since Nocturne just came.
And there's a bunch of story leaks happening like right now, and I feel like if it's the guy working at Nintendo that is leaking all this shit, it's because they're about to show something.
Yeah, I think thank you for reminding me, because I would have been kicking myself if I forgot about that. I think it is very realistic that we see SMC5.
What about Triangle Strategy, Jacob? Don't you want to see Triangle Strategy?
They will probably show a brief trailer for Triangle Strategy.
I want them to show it with a different name this time, damn it.
Yes.
No.
Please.
No.
Please.
They should call it the Salt Iron War.
Square Strategy.
Square Salt Iron.
We're adding a new dynamic to it.
A new crystal dynamic.
Yeah, we could see that. That could certainly make an appearance. I think that everybody should I feel this very confidently. Anybody who's excited about Nintendo's kind of doing decently right now, they seem like they're really building up for a lot, completely deflate on seeing F-Zero or Donkey Kong or Star Fox or anything else that you think may come back and will not be there.
I think the only two like big Nintendo properties that there's even a chance of seeing is frickin' Zelda, obviously, because that's going to come out, I would say, within the next year. I feel pretty confident on that.
We'll see.
Within the next year, like as of E3, I feel like it's going to be.
That's a week. That's a week for wait.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be spring of next year, but that's just me.
We'll see what happens.
And I could see a new Mario game being announced. I could see that happening.
I don't, because their Mario games are so spaced out. And they just did Bowser's Fury. I really don't see that.
When did the last Donkey Kong come out?
Tropical Freeze 2014.
Oh, dang. Okay, never mind. It's not.
And Retro's now working on Metroid Prime, so.
Okay, yeah. Oh, well, we're not going to get to see that great ape this time.
No ape at E3 this year, I don't think.
Do you think maybe a new Mario Kart? There have been rumors
I was about to get to Mario Kart 8 came out in 2014? 2015?
Or 2013, I think.
And no, because it wasn't a launch title. It was a few years. I didn't buy a Wii U until it came out.
Yeah, it was 2014.
I got the bundle.
Yeah, it was 2014.
And I think that we have a situation there where I don't know what the internal makeup at Nintendo is of what team works on that and what they have been doing for the last stretch of time. Because Deluxe did not feature anything new other than the battle maps and new characters. And there was
and double items.
They were rebalancing things in it, and there were some graphical updates, but the DLC just came with it, right?
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, Mario Kart 8 is, I believe, currently still the best-selling game on the Switch.
Correct.
It's still one of the top-selling games every month of the year.
I think Odyssey might have actually finally passed it, but they're close.
I don't think that's it. I don't think that's true at all. You can double check. But I'm pretty sure the Mario Kart 8 still shows up in top 10 games sold this month. Not even on Switch, just period.
Yeah.
Pretty consistently. I think that with those types of numbers, they would be insane not to be working on it.
My bad. I was thinking about Animal Crossing because Animal Crossing is about to pass it.
Thank you.
That's my bad.
I think that they would be absolutely insane not to be working on another Mario Kart, and I think it is totally reasonable that they announce it this year.
Animal Crossing sold freaking 33 million units. What the hell, man?
I think we will absolutely see Mario Kart 9.
That. It was a good game, but just the fact that it sold more than Breath of the Wild and Odyssey is just
it's
painful.
also
and Ultimate.
Well, it's one of those things where it's Animal Crossing. It's for a wider audience, I would say. It's Breath of the Wild is already a wide audience. Don't get me wrong, but it's Animal Crossing is any of us in here could be playing it, but also a ton of people I know that.
Damn, I didn't realize Monster Hunter Rise has already sold over 7 million.
Woo! Great game. I'm loving it.
So there is.
I'll have to buy it.
We'll have to talk about Monster Hunter Rise maybe in a little bit here when we chat about games we've been playing. As kind of a wrap up after all this. But here's what I'm thinking. Right, every console that Nintendo does has a Mario Kart game on it. Right,
yeah.
This is a thing that is a system seller, and they release one of these, and this is a thing. Right, and the only one on this one is the repeat from the Wii U.
Yep.
Now I don't think that bothers them. They have some kind of mental thing of there needs to be a unique Switch one. I don't think there's that.
No.
But I'm also thinking, with them apparently setting up some kind of Nintendo Switch Pro, right? They are clearly angling for this to have a much longer lifespan. Possibly longer than a lot of their other... I shouldn't say longer than the NES, because that's and compared to GameCube forward, yes. I think they want this to have one of the longest lifespans of any of their consoles, other than the Wii, where the lifespan didn't matter. Yeah. So with that in mind, I would want it, like, it wouldn't be like, okay, because like in your head you go, do you hold off on making another Mario Kart and release it for the next system to help sell that? But you don't if you're going to make the Switch.
I think it's just going to be the Switch Pro. Honestly, I don't think. I mean,
if your objective is to push the Switch for another 4 years, you don't hold off on a Mario Kart for the next thing. You do another one. We will. I really think there's a really good chance that if they're talking about our sales, we think our sales are going to be fantastic, and there's not enough time for a new Mario game to be in development, and they are absolutely not going to have gotten their heads out of their ass and bring back F-Zero.
That's why it's like the only thing that I think justifies them saying, hey, our sales of software are going to be higher in this fiscal year than they were in the last year. If I'm thinking about like corporate bean counters, right, and they're looking at their sales, it's like the only thing that could outsell Animal Crossing is New Mario Kart.
Yeah. And it's also it's the type of game with the, I don't want to say like it's easy to develop or whatever, because it's not. And the amount of work, especially in 8, because 8's gorgeous.
8 is one of the best racing games, party games ever made.
The amount of work that went into the environmental detail in that game is insane.
We bought a Wii U just for that game originally, and I did not feel bad about it.
And I suspect
I 100% that game 3 times, because the first time then when both DLCs came out.
We're in a situation where they do those retro tracks now, and unlike with Mario Kart Wii, where the retro tracks were in many cases fairly low poly and looked like their source if it was a track from N64, it was barely a touched up N64 track, you know. Yeah. Whereas like on Mario Kart 8, all the retro tracks are like have modern quality.
Yeah.
And I'm going, okay, so they're doing a standard of 8 pre's now, and there may even be, they may think, a pressure of, well, when we release Deluxe, it had those 4 extra pre's from the DLC for 8. They may push themselves to do more than 8 pre's in base game plus DLC. So that's a lot of, they probably won't do that, so probably
imagine if they were just like, they called it like Mario Kart Legacy, and it was like literally every track ever. It would explode.
There's no way they'll do that, because the problem is they need to, like, in Mario Kart 10, they're going to start recycling retro tracks they used in Wii and 3DS.
Yeah.
Because
they're already doing Wii and 3DS.
No. I mean, in Wii and 3DS, they had retro tracks, right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying that
they're going to recycle.
I'm saying they haven't redone. They haven't done retro tracks again.
I want to see my DK Mountain in freaking HD.
Ooh.
DK Mountain is still one of my favorite tracks in the entire history of that.
And I need the freaking new version of the soundtrack version of DK Mountain's score as well. Anyway, no, I know they're doing retro tracks from 3DS and Wii. I mean, I want, like, they're going to get to the point where they're going to have to, like, publish. It's like how in Monster Hunter, like, they do legacy courses and missions, and like eventually got to the point where some games would have the same legacy courses the same legacy levels multiple times, because it's like just, you know, these are the greatest hits.
Oreo Coliseum.
Anyway, point being, I think that I'm not saying that game is easy to develop, and they may push themselves to do even more content than they did in base 8. I don't think that's necessarily realistic, because I think they'll want to sell DLC.
Yeah,
but they may. And I'm thinking that is the type of game where the development cycle isn't easy and short, but it is also the type of thing where you announce that 5 months before it comes out, and that feels just right.
I also feel like between them doing Diamond and Pearl remakes, which are the most popular post GBA Pokemon games, like by a wide margin, right? Mm-hmm. Like they outsold Black and White and a bunch of the other ones by like a landslide. I would say between those and the bigger title, like a new Mario Kart or whatever else. I wish that the new Zelda would come out by then, but I kind of doubt it. That's the only way you can justify having higher software sales. You need something that big to go along with the Pokemon remakes, because those aren't enough by themselves.
All right, let's see. So Mario Kart 8 was confirmed in a Nintendo Direct in 2013 and announced at E3 2013, and it came out in May of 2014. However, at that point in time, their sales were so bad that I think they were desperate to get any attention for the system, and now they're not going to care about that as much. And their entire philosophy with everything recently, except for Zelda and Metroid, has been announced close enough to release.
And Bayonetta 3.
And Bayonetta 3, yes. So I think that we can...
Granted, that initial, like, both the announcement for the Switch and 2017, I think they were trying to promise more than they could initially, because they didn't know how successful it was going to be.
For sure. Those decisions make sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. And since then, it has been much more of a 6 months thing, except for Breath of the Wild 2, because I think they knew everyone was going to be screaming about it for so long. They were like, we need to show that we've heard the feedback, like, as fast as possible.
Yeah. Anyway, Mario Kart 9, I think, is honestly my top, like, blind call. Like, it's not blind, like nothing announced, no hints, no nothing. Mario Kart 9 is my top prediction.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's
extremely realistic.
If Mario Kart 9 isn't announced, then Zelda has to come out by the end of the fiscal year for them to make all these projections they're talking.
Unless they think that Splatoon is going to do very well.
Well, that's not coming out until 2022.
You're right, it's not.
Okay.
You know what, Mario? It has to be one of those two.
You know what, Mario Kart 9 is going to come out.
Alright, there we go.
Dude, I would lose it though. That'd be sick.
So I just don't think that Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out this year.
I don't think so either. But at the same time, with those software projections, that's the thing I keep going off of and keep going back to because it's like I do not see what can sell those numbers.
The only other thing that causes those numbers, and this would be very un-Nintendo, so I don't believe it, would be when they announce the Switch Pro. They announce a significant price cut on the base model, like a real
$150 or something,
like a really significant cut, and then it's like, well, since people will be buying it, they'll be buying software. That's the only thing that would explain it.
Yeah, and I still would not bank on the whole software is going to be higher than last year because tons of people were buying Switches last year. So it has to be a new software release of some type,
of a big one. And there's only a few big boys, and speaking of big boys, another Yoshi's Crafted World or Kirby game is not. Which, by the way, a Kirby game or Yoshi game, probably will both be shown off. But neither of those are the software moving things.
Let me put a finger gun to my head real quick while we discuss Yoshi games.
What a sad state of affairs that is.
God. I hadn't kept up with any of this crap, so I was like, oh, what about a sports game? I'm like, maybe they'll announce the new one.
Golf's coming out in...
I Googled, and I was like, isn't there a golf game? It's like, not out yet. It's like, oh, okay, they're not going to announce anything else because it's coming out.
I will say, it looks like the... I lost that. Dang. I was going to say, it looks like the blank of this genre. The knack of competitive Mario sports games. That's kind of what I was going for.
The most recent trailer, they were showing everybody has the special move they can activate where they go super speed and they hit their golf and the ball hits the ground. It's a nuke that throws everybody else's balls around and disrupts other players.
I was going to say it was going to be the Bayonetta of Mario based.
Rosalina's special is she stops playing golf. And the Lumas pick up the ball and fly it somewhere for her.
Well, it's also, she doesn't even swing the bat. She's so the club, she's so bougie, she just levitates.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Maybe she has shaky hands and she has to.
No. No. I have shaky hands, but I wouldn't get away with that.
No, I wouldn't get away with that. The Mario Golf game will probably do fairly well for itself, but no, I really think that. Well, yeah, I think Mario Kart is very.
I would also say that the ceiling for a Mario Golf game is 5 million units.
I also want to say that a Mario Kart 9 release is the only thing I can think of that will make me get a Switch Online subscription.
Yeah,
it is the only game I can think of that would make me do that.
But Jacob.
No. You're about to say Splatoon.
No, I'm about to say legacy games.
Oh, yeah.
Think of all the games that you could...
There will be a brief segment during this E3 where they announce 5 new NES games no one has ever played. But I think that's about it. Honestly, my Mario Kart shot call, which I wasn't really thinking about when we started this, but I had thought about it in the past. I had to remind myself. You had to remind me about SMT5. That's also something
I think that was something that me and you discussed a few months back, and I think you bringing it back up also made me go, yeah, that's probably...
The very unfortunate thing is that Sony's show will probably be the most interesting, and it's not announced, and it will probably be next month.
Dude, God of War 5, but also God of War 2.
You were Joey. We were complaining about last time. How useless the state of plays are.
They suck.
They suck.
That last Ratchet and Clank one was good, but it was just because it was 30 minutes of gameplay of Ratchet and Clank, and its placement in being a state of play was immaterial to watching some fun gameplay of Ratchet and Clank.
It's the state of play was over after 5 minutes. I was like, okay, cool, Ratchet and Clank stuff. Yeah,
and then you watch it for 30 minutes and you forgot what you were doing, and then at the end they're like, we hope you enjoyed state of play, and I'm like, I didn't.
Get away.
Yeah.
Away, foul beast.
Yeah, that Ratchet and Clank game looks pretty good.
It's pretty impressive.
Ratchet and Clank to me was always the thing that was it was the non-mainstream platformer that was the closest in style to Lego Star Wars to me.
Here's the thing: it's weird. It's I haven't touched Ratchet and Clank since PS2.
Yeah,
but I love Ratchet and Clank dearly. It's it's weird. It's I haven't bothered going back, but it's like I used to love like deadlocking up your arsenal and whatnot. Deadlock was kind of the black sheep, and I have one friend who really likes it, and I didn't like it as much. But it's like I enjoy those games quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's weird. Maybe this will be the one where I'll be like, yeah, I'll give this one a shot. I'll go back.
Let's assume you can find a PS5. But anyway, I think that's about it for E3 predictions anyway. We should probably wrap up the show relatively soon. But while we have Joshua here, there's a number of things that we do. Last time we talked about games we've recently been playing. I have nothing to talk about because I've played nothing because I've been too busy.
I haven't played much.
Well, hold on. You've played plenty of stuff in the last chunk of time that you can talk about. And something we mentioned on the last show, which I didn't feel comfortable talking about because we were talking about Battlefield, was Enlisted.
Oh, yeah.
Which Joey doesn't know. He never heard of it until I brought it up. So I'd like you to explain to Joey and the audience what Enlisted is.
Okay, so Enlisted is basically it's made by the same guys who made War Thunder, and it's basically a first-person shooter Battlefield. It kind of feels like a mix between Day of Infamy and more like a Battlefield type game because there's a lot of vehicles and stuff like that. And basically it's free to play, so it's littered with a bunch of monetization gunk. But the really cool premise of it is that you don't control a single character and fight and then you respawn when you die. You pick a squad, right? And you have AI companions that follow you around. And when your character dies, you can then drive San Francisco into the other guys in your party.
Assume control.
Yeah, you can assume direct control of those guys. So it's like you can go and hold a point for a while. Like if you're trying to hold a point, right? It's like you can take an entire squad of 8 people there and hide them all behind a bush. And then when one of your guys dies, you just just assume direct control of the next guy and go back into the fight. It also makes it where all the kill counts are very highly inflated, so even the people who suck at the game think they're good, which makes it fun.
See, that's why I like Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Because it's although that being said, I didn't really understand the formula for the longest. So oh man, I just got a double kill, and it's SM-05 as in -72. I was like, oh.
I had one 85 kill streak in Enlisted because I was in a tank and just sitting over the B point, and I had infinite machine gun rounds, and you just back and forth.
There is a feeling like no other in a
just
game like that
exploiting
where you are in a vehicle taking on infantry in some capacity and you're on a massive kill streak.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's just not even fun. And it was the vehicles are actually pretty darn weak in Enlisted. It's 1 or 2 grenades or satchel charges will blow it up. And I wasn't even moving around that much. It was just I was in a place where no one was able to get to me.
It's the opposite of Battlefield 5 where you can be an assault class and you can chunk your entire arsenal at a tank and it just shrugs it off.
Nice.
So the vehicles in that game, it's I don't know. It's I think the most infuriating part is unless you are dealing direct weak spot damage the whole time, because it's the most you can have 2 satchel charges and 2 RPGs Panzerfaust or whatever.
Yeah.
It's unless you get all of that on the weak point, it's not even going to get close to dying. And you get glancing blows too.
That's
where
just stupid.
It's this tank is in a position that's killed 100 of us. It's okay, I'm going to line up my shot, bang, and I did. What was that? 17 damage to the 100 health vehicle because it was oops, you hit a corner.
Yeah. It's so realistic though, Joey. It's
Right.
Very realistic.
You're right. It's super realistic because the tanks are immortal because somebody's on the other side repairing the whole time.
Well, yeah, and also, dude, tanks are cool. We want the player to like the tank.
Are.
But Joshua, you talked about a bit beyond just the the squad mechanics and the jumping between the mechanics about so it's free to play, right?
Yeah.
I'm just okay. So how does the microtransaction?
So basically, when you start out, basically you have to outfit every guy in all of your squads, right? Mm-hmm. So it's you get weapon credits and you get squad credits as you go on, and each squad mate has different abilities. You can buy an assault class guy who can use machine guns or whatever the hell, right?
Yeah.
But it's you unlock enough as you go, just playing the game and leveling up, that you're gonna have enough of these guns to just do whatever the hell you want to do, anyways. It is a bit slimy in that you can't really get like sidearms are from like a random drop. Like you have to like get lucky. And it's like you can't buy sidearms with like your credits or whatever. So there's a couple of things like that where it's very much they're trying to fleece money out of people. But it's not as overt as it is in other games like that. And so I feel like it's pretty decent in that way. There's a lot of customization. You can like leveling up your squads so you can outfit them. You know, like okay, you can add 2 snipers to your unit or whatever. The sniping in that game is legitimately like the thing I like the most about it because it's like bolt action rifles are usually a 1-shot kill, so you can very much just sit behind the lines and just snipe people for an hour, which is what I usually do in that game. It's quite fun. But yeah, that's really all I have to say on the list. I haven't played it in a bit.
It sounds interesting, but yeah, ever since you told me about it last time briefly, it's like I still haven't come across it at all.
I've seen a couple of ads for it on YouTube, which is about the only. Joshua sent me a little bit of gameplay.
I don't think it's going to be the massive success of War Thunder because War Thunder was kind of lightning in a bottle because obviously you had the world of games because you had tanks, warplanes, and boats. I know it's War
and Warframe it's not Warframe. War Thunder was like
combining all three,
and also it sounds like from most of what I've heard, except for World of Tanks, maybe like better.
Yeah, World of Tanks, from what I hear, is like when it comes to those three, it's the most fleshed out of the three. As of right now, War Thunder's boats mode is less fleshed out than World of Warships because I think that whoever makes those games, Wargaming, has put a lot of time into warships recently because they've just gotten destroyed on the plane front by War Thunder. That's the big thing that everyone does in War Thunder is either not many people play the boat mode. I still play the tank mode every now and then, but like the plane mode is where everyone goes to War Thunder.
That's what it's known for.
Yeah, and so I think World of Warplanes has basically died. Like,
and the difficulty with Enlisted is that you're penetrating into like a market of war shooters that already you're going up against Battlefield and Call of Duty to some extent, and you're offering a very different product. Yeah. But you do have to be able to like people who would like something like War. God, I keep freaking not Warframe, Wargroove. What's it called? What's the game called? War Thunder.
There's too many war.
The people who want to play a game like that.
We need to stop the war.
The people who want to play a game like that are gonna find it, whereas people who want to play a shoot band game have like 16 other options on top of it.
Yeah.
Though the one thing is about this Enlisted, it's on PS5 and Xbox One.
Yes.
Right? So if you bought a PS5,
Xbox Series X.
God, shut up. If you bought a PS5 and you're sitting around and going, I finally got it. Like everybody, because apparently everybody's buying it, and you're sitting around and realizing to yourself that you have nothing to play on it, then free-to-play cool next-gen shooter would hypothetically be appealing to you. So I don't know, maybe it's doing well on PS5 because
that's
of that.
exactly why I started playing Warframe back in the day, because I got my PS4. It's like,
what do I do with it?
Yeah, what do I do?
Cool. I don't have a game. Oh, this Warframe game is pretty cool. I'm going to play it for a little bit and abandon it for like 6 years and then come back to it and play it with my friends like I'm doing. I was playing it yesterday.
Nice. Yeah, no, the only other big game I've been playing recently is I've had it since like last year, but I finally played the first Phoenix Wright game. And it's like, and those games were not overhyped for me. I didn't know much about them going in, but like it's got a lot of like rough like 90s adventure game like problems where it's like you have to use this item at the right time, and it's like if you do it too early, then you just you lose. Even though it's like you could make jumps in logic that get you to an answer faster than the game wants you to get to said answer. Like there were a couple times in like the court cases where they would just be like, they'd be like, oh no, it's over. There's nothing I could possibly do to win this case. But wait, I have this thing, and it's like, yeah, I've been trying to use it for the last 20 minutes, dude. You're really bad at this. But I honestly was surprised by how much of those games hold up, because obviously I have the collection on Steam that's the 3 GBA games, and those hold up pretty darn well. I know there was like slight graphical touch-ups, but not much has changed.
It's a series I've always been interested in trying.
Yeah, same here.
Joshua's main recommendation was if you get the collection, don't play the bonus case that they added.
Yeah. The bonus case at the end of the first game
to try and do a value add on the collection, they created a brand new case.
Well, it was in the DS version already.
Oh, okay.
But basically, the case they add, it's I want to say chapter 5 on the first game, because the first game I want to say there's a prologue and then 4 chapters, or maybe it was just the 4 chapters in the original game. I can't remember. But the 5th case that they added in, it's like 8 hours long and spends way too much time in the investigative stages. Maybe I'm just dumb, but like part of the problem with that game is like there will be times where you have to, go to a certain area and investigate everything, and if you miss like one thing, then the game just, cannot progress, and you have to just keep running around, beating your head against a brick wall, and then it's kind of like old 90s shooters, where you're looking around for a key for forever, and then you finally go back to some place you've been before and find it, where you just missed it before. And
by rubbing against a slightly different texture on the wall.
Exactly. And it's like so you have those problems, and they spend so much time on the investigation stage because that's where they use their new touch technology and microphone stuff. They put both of those things in for the DS because they wanted to have DS stuff.
Oh, yes, the microphone, the DS, everybody's favorite edition. I love every minigame. Every minigame.
There is exactly one implementation of that I don't just like, I love, which is in Professor Layton and the Diabolical Box. And when it happened, I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever done in a video game. And I think about how if they ever ported it to anything else, the experience would be ruined.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yep. I've talked about...
Exactly one time.
I talked about it. I think it was Phantom Hourglass, or what? It was one of... No. It was...
Spirit Tracks?
Which one of the DS Zeldas has the flute you play?
The flute?
That's Phantom Hourglass.
Phantom Hourglass. Yeah. I could not beat the game because I got to the last mini game of you go into the place and you play the flute. Couldn't do it. I tried. I tried for half an hour. And I was like, nope.
Turned the game off.
Turned the game off, and I haven't touched it.
There's something similar in one of the shovelware Avatar games. Remarkably,
I remember that.
The first Avatar games. There were 3 Avatar games, one for each season. But the first one is completely different.
It's like a beat 'em up.
The first one is not. No, it's like a pseudo RPG.
It's like a pseudo RPG beat 'em up.
So the original Avatar game for PS2, GameCube, whatever. Is set after season 1, but it's completely non-canonical. Zuko comes back and attacks a South Pole training camp, a North Pole training camp that you're at, where Aang's learning waterbending. You do some side quests and missions around there, and you beat up some wolves, and you unlock armor items which don't appear on your character but affect your stats. And you do side quests and things, and then Zuko shows up with a bunch of ships and attacks you to find the Avatar. And Zuko doesn't have he doesn't even have the one ship anymore. So he's definitely not launching any attacks to...
Yeah.
Zuko's barely in it. He's not even the main antagonist. He shows up at the end of chapters and is like, "Where's the Avatar?" But then he doesn't really get to do much.
You gotta get another credit for Dante Bosco.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it is the voice cast of the show in that game. Iroh never shows up.
I think it was pretty... it was... I think you're right. I haven't played that game.
What's really weird is that it's a 3-man team. It starts out with Aang. You briefly, and then you have an Aang Asaka section where Katara gets captured and you have to go get Katara. Then after that, you get the 4th member of your team, which is Haru, the Earthbender boy they met in season 1, who's in the prison.
Airbender boy.
When they meet him, he's living in a completely different part of the world, and he's introduced as if he's a new character. And he joins
really? It's
the same voice actor and same character,
but he's my name is Haru.
Yeah, it's a new guy who goes on an event, and he becomes part of the Goon Squad, and now becomes part of the Globetrotting Adventure, which was actually kind of neat, honestly.
Yeah.
He's around for the whole game, and he's there, and he's kind of a character. But it was neat because basically each chapter is in a different location of the world. The second main location is in a Fire Nation colony that's occupied, and Aang and Sokka have to steal Fire Nation uniforms, and there's a whole big sequence of the games where you can go through Fire Nation camps, and unless you start a fight or you do something suspicious, you can just walk around and you don't get noticed. But the real thing was, it wasn't a super well-designed game, so you could get super overpowered and start a fight in the middle of a Fire Nation military base and harbor, and you could just fight 100 dudes, and it was a lot of fun.
They put that in there as an optional horde mode, probably.
Yeah, and then one of the chapters was Mashu. You got to see Boomy, and you could explore huge chunks of the city and see a bunch of stuff that wasn't in the show. There was one where you went to a village. It was a normal village, but you could go up the mountain into one of the remains of an air temple, which was one that was created for the game. It wasn't one from the shows. It was just kind of concocted as a new thing. That first Avatar game is neat. The ones for seasons 2 and 3 are just straight adaptations of the show, and they're
kind of cash grabby.
And they're not there's not as much effort put into them. And I owned the second one, which I never beat, because when you have to flee from Wang Shitong in the library, there's an Uncharted sequence where you have to platform while Wang Shitong jumps out and goes ooga booga booga at you. and there's a bit where you have to do a quick time event as
Where
Katara.
It's like there's ice on like a door handle and you're breaking it, right?
Yes.
I completely
And
remember
the problem
this. I remember
is,
trying to do this for like 2
I
hours
have
with
the
you.
version that was on the Wii.
Oh,
And the QuickTime version, and
baby.
the QuickTime, and like for the most part, it had normal controls.
Yeah.
But sometimes there were QuickTime bendings where you had to mime as if you were doing some kind of bending or whatever, right?
It was so bad.
And it was a QuickTime event that I'd done about 20 times in the game already, where Katara has to like freeze over a door so it can be shattered or whatever. And that one I could not
It
get.
just wouldn't work.
And to be clear, you have like 45 seconds before Wang Shitong just kills you.
Yeah, so he's like...
So I get to do it like 30 times and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Oh, that's incredible. And it's like with a game that cheap, it's like there's any number of reasons why that didn't work.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacob, if you ever want to beat that game, I could get it on an emulator, and we could just, on that one part...
We could just emulate the PS2 version, Josh. We wouldn't have to
No,
emulate the Wii
we gotta
version.
do the Wii
We could just
version.
make it and hit a button and it'd be fine.
Get a tool assisted boss.
Hey, the GBA version of that game was actually pretty sick.
I didn't own a PS2 at this time, so the only console like of that slice that had that game, because I don't think it had a GameCube release.
Yeah, it had GBA release.
Yeah, which we did own, and the GameCube, the GBA release,
It was like fine.
I beat. It doesn't cover the whole game.
It's
it
just
stops.
a beat 'em up. Yeah,
It stops at the drill.
yeah, it's weird. It's like you beat the drill and you're like, oh,
And then they have a little scene where they're standing on the wall and saying, "Good job, team." And Sokka makes his jokes about their team name, and everybody says no, and they all walk off screen, and the game ends.
and you're like, oh, that was
I
the
guess,
end of the season.
and that's where they ran out of money.
Yeah.
And that's where they ran out of
It was
money.
honestly
and
a pretty decent beat 'em
It
up.
was a totally fine stock GBA beat 'em up little game. It was you had your four main characters, of course, except in that one it was Toph instead of Haru, who was just around for whatever reason in the first one.
Yeah, no, but going back to the freaking Phoenix Wright thing, it's like that case is just way too long. And it's like...
You said it's like almost the length of the rest of the game, like the base game.
At least for me, it took that long. Like, I remember, it was over the weekend, and I had blasted through most of the actual game itself during that week, like, just after classes, like, at night. And that case took me... I did nothing for, like, the rest of that Saturday, except play that. Like, it was literally... I started at, like, 10. And I want to say it took me until, like, 10 at night to beat it. Like, and granted, I was taking breaks to go eat and to walk around so I didn't die. But at the same time, I was like, I think I spent probably 8 hours on it before I beat it. And I also used the guide on that case just to, like, you know, get through cryptic crap and, like, find things. Like, I want to say 3 times as much as I used it on the other cases combined. Like, I used it a couple times in the last case because there's some obtrusive things, or, you know, things that are a bit clunky. But that one is just very much trying to be technically impressive and trying to be longer to justify a full release. That it's just overwhelming.
You specifically said that you were so into it that you were excited to go immediately play the second game, and playing that bonus take completely took all the energy out of it.
And then I went and started playing the second game, finished like the first case and a half, and was like, yeah, I'm done with this for now. And I haven't gone back since.
Well, it wasn't because you hated it, it was just that you needed to.
No, exactly. It was I finished the second case and was like, that was cool. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
I don't have much on my end to report of like neat things I've been playing recently, because really I haven't even touched Hades since the last time that we had a podcast. We talked about it on the podcast, which is at this point several weeks ago. Only thing I've been playing is Uncharted 3 and Uncharted 4 multiplayer. That's all I've been playing.
Uncharted 3 is so good though. It's the best one.
This is going to come out before Uncharted 3, the playthrough release.
Yeah,
so
I know.
we shouldn't talk about it too much.
We should give some previews of the gunplay from Uncharted 3. Remember how good it was?
Let me put it this way. When we beat the game, Joey was like, I had a good time, but unlike the other two, I'm not going to go and play that on my own time.
Oh, it was really cool, but it's like I can just skim the videos that come out later on.
You can also just go watch The Living Daylights.
Well, we'll talk about that another day. We'll talk another day about how. We'll talk another day about how that game is almost every single creative decision is at least vaguely ripping off the Last Crusade. And then when you get to the bits where you're like, oh, that part's cool. At least that wasn't stolen from the Last Crusade. And then you discover that they stole it from the best James Bond movie they were confident the least people had seen.
Yeah.
Anyway,
watched the Timothy Dalton ones, right?
Nobody watched the Timothy Dalton ones, so we can steal whatever we want from those.
Including the best set piece in history. Yeah, the set piece that you're thinking of from Uncharted 3.
Hey Joey, do you remember that bit kind of at like the back quarter. It kind of kicks off the final act of Uncharted 3. No spoilers. Like when Nate is like on his own, and he's going somewhere, and there's a really crazy thing that has a really crazy, cool, epic action sequence that I told you was like kind of the.
That was also featured in a Subway commercial.
It also featured in a Subway commercial and featured in the teaser trailer for obviously like rather the aftermath was featured in the teaser trailer
and also in the E3.
I don't think they showed that sequence in the. Maybe I'm wrong. You remember that part, right, Joey?
Yes.
Okay, so minus like. So the version that happens in James Bond isn't as crazy because there aren't literally trucks flying out, but there is a fist fight with the muscle of the movie, and the two characters wind up hanging on some things from a thing in a location, and it may or may not be almost a photocopy.
Incredible.
And that's the finale of The Living Daylights.
I just remember, so Jacob was telling me before we watched that film for the first time, which was just last year, he was telling me, hey, so upon watching this film, you will see that a lot of things from this film are very similar to Uncharted 3. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I can see some parallels there. And then it got to that scene that Jacob just described to Joey, and I remember my jaw just dropping and Jacob looking at me and laughing.
Well, it wasn't that. There's other stuff before that scene, like the scene, but there's a bunch of other stuff that's like, this is remarkably similar.
And you can see it coming from like the second that set piece started. I just remember I looked at Jacob and went, no.
Why are you walking away from the microphone while you're still talking?
Sorry, my bad. I was just stretching.
It's fine. We should wrap up soon anyway.
Yeah,
that's plenty of it.
Yeah, I just looked at Jacob and went, no, this can't be about to happen. And then it happened.
We will probably watch The Living Daylights as part of our movie watching show here on the Research Log at some point in time.
Okay.
It's a good one. A lot of people haven't seen it, so might as well.
It's quite good.
Yeah, Joey's only seen the only the only Goldfinger movie he's seen is Goldfinger. The only James Bond movie he's seen is Goldfinger, and only because we made him watch it a couple of years ago. Not made. We said, "Would you like to?" And you said, "Sure."
And it was fun.
And that's that's one you got to start with if you haven't seen any of them. It was a different time. Listen, okay. When you understand that that's what you're there for, and you're just there to laugh at this stuff, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
When it's just wacky, stupid shenanigans. And you're like, this is ridiculous. And it came out in the 60s and not in 2021 or whatever. Then you aren't complaining about how you don't make games for cigarettes.
Oh boy.
We should, before wrapping up, talk about two news items. One of them being that David Cage and other upper management at Quantic Dream filed a defamation lawsuit, or libel, I guess, lawsuit, because people said bad things about working conditions at Quantic Dream. And they're regretting it because when you make a libel or defamation lawsuit, or slander lawsuit, or whatever kind, the court is usually going to rule in order to prove that this is defamation, you need to produce documentation that proves that they weren't lying. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that when the story was true, the court case makes things...
documents saying that they were lying.
And often there are documents that make it worse for you.
Uh-oh.
Including David Cage saying basically all of the women in my games are sluts, and we don't make games for cigarettes. I don't know why. I appreciate that as a Frenchman, he's taking such a strong stance against the tobacco industry.
Oh my god.
So I guess there's something positive to come out of this. Though specifically those quotes I haven't seen republished in English. They were from
so we don't know if they're
French publication, and I don't know if it's a reputable publication. I've only seen like other people translate them. The main story that's been picked up by everyone is apparently David Cage crying and stomping his feet on the stand and insisting, like a Phoenix Wright character, and insisting that this has ruined his reputation and his honor and his company, and fleeing the courtroom in tears. And the other top guy, in the middle of his testimony, asking the judge, "But I'm not under oath, so I'm allowed to lie, right?" And then immediately proceeding to say, "Yes, these stories have had a serious impact on our business
and our mental health."
Yes, and when you ask that immediately after saying, "Can I lie?" it doesn't really, and it casts your entire testimony into negative light.
If you're not under oath, why ask?
I was talking to my dad, and I was like, think of all the crime dramas and courtroom dramas that exist, right? All the courtroom TV shows and like the courtroom segments of a Law and Order or whatever. And how many characters have been written in history of like stupid person on the stand who doesn't know what they're doing and get taken advantage of by a lawyer or by the judge or just doesn't know how to handle themselves. And if you wrote a character who looked at the judge and asked, "I'm not under oath, so am I allowed to lie?" people would say that's unrealistic. You're pushing it too far.
That
that's
never
not
even
funny.
happens in Phoenix Wright, even with the dumbass friend.
That is too much.
Every
That's too extreme. That's not funny. That's too easy and too stupid. And it happened in real life. And I am loving it. It is like my favorite thing I've read in probably a month or two. It's so good. I can't believe it.
You literally can't make it up because, like you're saying, if you made it up, people would go, "That's stupid."
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's so stupid. You could come up with something cleverer than that. Come up with a better joke. There's not much to say about that other than Quantic Dream's gross and David Cage is gross. And I saw the freaking Best Friends clip getting circulated around again because of this story of them freaking discovering the prompt to spray paint the fist and the "We Have a Dream" and just screaming. But honestly, slightly more interesting. That's funny and somewhat. And I hate to say this because under most circumstances,
it's fine. It's fine. Freaking David Cage knows as little about racism as David Guetta. It's completely fine.
Ooh, good joke. This is for George Floyd. Under normal circumstances, I'm not one to laugh at other people's pain, even if they're not particularly good people, because I just don't like doing that. It feels gross.
Yeah, obviously.
Like the particular breed of sleaze on David Cage for years, trying desperately to act like he is a progressive who is saving video games and pushing the industry forward and super duper smart. And it's like everything is so transparently, if you think about it for 1 second, so gross and counterproductive.
Yeah.
And then when he makes something, I'm gonna go out and say it. Detroit Become Human is a mess, but you can at least argue that sure, he was trying to make a point with that one.
And it had some good ideas.
And that was the one where he was like, I'm just asking questions. It's about androids. It's not about anything. And then when the riots happened in 2020, the freaking Twitter account was like, you see, now we look pretty smart, huh? And just to see him finally reduced to this is so good. I feel this is the best I've ever felt about somebody being sad.
What did he say about Game Over? Is it a failure?
Failure of the game designer. Game Over is a failure of the game designer.
This might be Game Over for Quantic Dream, so I guess it is a
failure of the game designer.
I love how both of the big,
I've thought about that.
Both of the really big French video game companies within 6 months have both had like their like horrific scandals that have rocked their companies to the core.
Yeah, well, you reminded me because Ubisoft had their entire upper management got blasted.
Yeah,
it was pretty funny. People are gonna say this is about French or whatever, and it's not. No, I mean it's funny that it happened back to back. Not funny that it happened. No, it's not funny that it happened to French. People are gonna make jokes about me and my French. No, because honestly, I half the time I don't even think of Ubisoft as being French. I think of them as Montreal and other studios that they have. And it's not a French thing. It's just a David Cage thing.
Yeah.
Now, is it beneficial to me? Do I get a little something extra because he's French? Maybe a little bit. I think that it adds a little something. Specifically, not even like a little. I think honestly, it specifically adds on to the pretentiousness factor. Because like if it was in American and all the other stuff was involved, it wouldn't like him being French wouldn't be a bonus. But like because like all the stuff about French people is like a joke that Dean Weiss started in a video once, and that I've maintained because it's funny. Yeah. But specifically with David Cage, the extra era pretentiousness you get, and of him being
insane.
And of setting all of his games in America and clearly wanting to make American movies, but being over here and hiring American actors or hiring French actors who don't speak good enough English. Jason, like that adds an extra dimension to the character. That does add an extra dimension. That does admittedly add an extra dimension that I don't feel should be overlooked. Though I think more pressingly, where was Yuji Naka even before Square? He had his own company,
he was at
right?
Let's Tap.
He did that Rodea the Sky Soldier thing.
Yeah.
It was apparently actually pretty cool, except that it was 6 years late. And the Wii version that came out was 5 years after the Wii stopped mattering, so it was bundled with a Wii U version that sucked.
Yep.
And apparently the Wii version was kind of neat, but in order to get it, you had to get lucky and get a copy of the Wii U version that had the Wii copy with it, and there were only like 200 printed or some crap.
Jeez.
It was a higher number than that, but it was like a ludicrously small printing.
Yeah.
Emulation, baby.
No,
so
Jacob. You will be destroyed like every other filthy ROM user.
So he went to Square. So he went to Square.
Nintendo will purge you like the scum-sucking piece of garbage that you clearly are.
And he made a game called Balan Wonderlands.
Wonder World!
I got confused because someone else just announced a name called Wonderlands today. I don't even remember what studio.
Oh, is it that new live-action Alice in Wonderland movie?
That's an unfortunate name after all this.
Sorry, no, that's a Nutcracker movie.
There was also the live-action Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movies, Joshua.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Was it Epic?
Epic Wonderland?
Epic. Somebody announced a video game
Fortnite
called
Wonderland?
No. Hold on.
Does that mean a world where only flossing is allowed?
Don't make me come over there.
No.
I won't stop him either. You'll deserve it at this point.
Come on, where is it? Now just give me American McGee's Wonderland, American McGee's Alice, and Balan Wonderland. I saw a freaking announcement. I saw an announcement for a game called Wonderlands, and it's killing me. Where is it? Why can't I find it?
It probably got canceled.
I can't. You canceled already. Yeah, probably. Hold on. I gotta go to like new places that I would have seen it at. Just give me a second. I will solve this mystery. Just give me a moment. I'll rewrite history. This will stop being embarrassing.
Together we can show the world what we can do.
I was doing DuckTales, but that's fine.
No.
What? Is it Gearbox?
Yeah.
Yeah! I figured it out just from your reaction!
No! It's Borderlands! Oh no!
Woo!
This was leaked.
I am now Woo Man. I have become Woo Man.
Name of new Gearbox game Wonderlands is referenced. There we go.
Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. My friend told me that there was Borderlands spinoff like leaks, and I'm like, please tell me you're lying.
Let's go, gamers.
I didn't scroll and find the word Gearbox. I deduced it from your reaction. I knew it was a Western studio, but that was as far as I was in my head. It was a major Western studio.
I got them Wonderlands under the news tab on Google, and I saw Tiny Tina's face, and I was like, oh no.
Okay.
You just destroyed more of Joey's heart. It's down to 20% capacity.
Anyway, Yuji Naka, creator of Sonic the Hedgehog, consistent home run hitter, batting 1,000, went to Square Enix, made a video game called Balan Wonderland, Wonder World, I don't give a shit, and Square immediately cut the price to $40, and because the Metacritic is like 30.
And they got rid of the demo immediately.
And they took the demo off. They didn't want people to be able to play the game.
Last time that happened was Sonic 06.
They took the demo down because it was the opposite of Sonic 06, but the Sonic 06 demo was better than the final version.
Well, yes, but they still took it down because they thought it was still harming the brand.
Because it was still bad. It was ironic. And they took down the demo for Balan Wonder Worlds. It's Wonder Worlds, right?
It's Wonder World.
Wonder World.
Singular world.
Because it's so bad that they were afraid it was going to damage the sales. And anyway, Yuji Naka was fired like 2 days ago, which is like, what, 3-4 weeks after the game came out?
He resigned, Jacob.
Okay, excuse me, he resigned.
Get fired, even though no one gets fired in Japan because...
No, people, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. People
honestly,
resign.
he said, I got one shot. That to me is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Square should have given him 2 games. Like, why not? Like, Square is like, okay, we're trying to diversify our portfolio. We're trying to make something for kids, make platformers, whatever. Like, why would you just say, new team, new studio, here's money, you better hit it out of the park the first time?
Yeah.
Why not go twice? Why not go twice?
Well,
and why not tell
them?
If
they had, it's like, this is one of those things, I can't
see it being much better.
I can't blame them necessarily.
Yeah.
For this,
No,
specific
I agree.
case,
I agree.
It's like, if they hadn't even thought about this and then they saw this, it's like, this would have been a red flag of, oh, we gotta shut this down.
I agree. You think, I don't know how there weren't more red flags way earlier in production on that game, honestly. It should have been way smaller, and it should have been way simpler. It didn't need to, it just could have been a fun game where you jump on things.
But Jacob...
How many fun games are there where you jump on things anymore?
There's not even... You can't... Half the suits you can't even do the jump thing because...
Rayman Legends came out like 5 years ago, and we get one Mario game a console generation.
This is the same, you daggum... It's like you get a suit on, and they wanted to make it simple for the kids.
So
every single button does the action for the suit, and some suits don't have jump. If you're the Cogman suit, where your one thing is to put your cog in the wall and turn it, you can't then...
That doesn't come out right.
Rayman Legends came out in 2013!
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No, dude!
Go play ukulele.
No, dude! All Yuji Naka needed to do was use the money and talent available to him because he's working for Square Enix and just make a game where jumping on things is fun because there's no competition. There's no platformers anymore.
Sonic Forces?
No!
That's not a platform. Half of it's...
Well, what about the new Sonic R reboot?
Oh, boy.
So Rayman Legends came out like 7-8 years ago now. I'm trying to think. Odyssey, Super Mario plus Bowser's Fury...
Sonic Mania.
No, it doesn't count.
Why?
Because I don't know. We'll count Sonic Mania. That's fine. I'm thinking like 3D platforms.
Oh, 3D. I got you.
But I guess I'm including Rayman. So
Crash is dead now.
Yeah,
Crash was brought back to life, did spectacularly well, and then was killed.
Wait, why was it killed?
Because EA needs them to work on Call of Duty.
I was gonna say they took the entire.
Activision needs to work on Call of Duty.
They took all the workers and threw them into the Call of Duty studio.
No.
Same with the guys who made Tony Hawk Remaster, Tony Hawk Land 2 HD. Those studios.
Activision's my least favorite company.
Yeah, they're all now Call of Duty support.
Warzone, bro.
Yeah, I know. Well, and also the 3 other Call of Duty games I'm sure they're working on right now. Yeah, so the reward for Crash 4 and Tony Hawk Pro Skater selling ludicrously well was for those studios to become development support teams for Call of Duty.
I was going to say, their reward was not getting shut down and getting moved.
That was their kindness. But Jacob, no,
I will do you this kindness.
Jacob, Ukulele was a 3D platformer.
Yes.
You had the Spyro 3D remasters too.
It's true. It's true. You had A Hat in Time, which came out like almost 5 years ago now.
Yep. 2016. It was 5 years ago.
Oh, no. I need the sequel. Gears for Breakfast. Where's the sequel? What are you doing?
Does Bug Fables count as a platformer?
No, it doesn't count as a platformer.
Damn it.
It does not count.
I was just trying to help them out.
Play
Bug Fables!
Yuji Naka,
Play Bug Fables!
You just need to let me jump on things. Why couldn't I just jump?
Dude, I wonder how much money those guys made off of Bug Fables.
Hopefully a lot.
Because that Arlo review happened, and then it like shot to the bestsellers on the Switch, and it's like they spent $20,000 on that game, and they probably made over $1 million. But like,
I hope they made more money than they ever conceived that they could make off of it.
Yeah,
that is what I wish them.
I mean, I could see them making more than $500,000.
It was 2 guys, by the way.
It was 2 guys. Yeah, 2 guys made a game that's comparable to Paper Mario. Goodness gracious. What gods.
Very impressive.
I'm doing 3D platformers.
Paper Mario.
Recent 3D platformers?
I'm not getting anything.
Because they don't exist.
Spyro Reignited.
It's A Hat in Time and
I'm also not getting
1.5 Mario games.
Because my reception's not good. For some reason, I can't connect your
Really, I guess I should say 2.5 Mario games. Because really 3D World, 3D World came out within this time frame, and I should include that. And say Bowser's Fury is a half.
You shouldn't.
It takes 2.
Oh yeah, it takes 2. Co-op, but it's like co-op specific things. That
what about A Way Out? Is that a 3D platformer?
A Way Out is not a 3D platformer. It's Heavy Rain if it was good.
It's every game.
It's a Quantum Dream game, but good.
That's basically what A Way Out is.
Yeah, Bug Fables, 2 core developers and a composer. I think that's it.
Yep.
I think that's
they're Panamanian, right?
Yes, Panamanian. Independent developer, Moonsprout Games.
Yeah, I love that name.
It's a pretty good name. Works pretty well for a game called Bug Fables, too.
Yeah.
Moonsprout Games. It fits.
Nintendo should buy them and give them all the money.
No, they shouldn't, because if they buy them, then they'll just shut them. They'll say, oh, you didn't make enough money, and they'll shut them down.
Oh, no, you're right.
Nintendo should not buy them.
Okay, here's what Nintendo should do. They should fire 30 of their employees, and then all 30 of those employees should inexplicably move to Panama.
Dangan Entertainment is their publisher, and they're not like Devolver Digital size, but they're like kind of one of those like smaller indie publishers, and they seem like they're pretty good to most of the people they work with.
Yeah,
so I'm sure they're very comfortable where they are right now.
I mean, I know they released a collector's edition like almost a year after.
They released a physical release. Yeah, with I told Joey on the last podcast about the pop-up Yu-Gi-Oh! Little diorama.
Dude, that card game is actually really good. I really enjoyed playing that. I made so much money off of that.
Well, maybe we will hopefully be doing a post E3 show in the future. Joshua probably won't be here.
I could maybe be virtual boy.
But we will probably have him join over the interwebs. And we will
virtual boy.
And we'll do like an E3 news roundup rundown and talk about our reactions and thoughts and feelings on some things. As a point of reference, I'm going to get this out relatively quickly, so this will be releasing close to parts 1 and 2. Do not expect consistently fast releases of the research log. I'm going to attempt to get out the one where we discuss E3 aftermath, as close to after E3 as we can. Like as soon as we film it, I'm trying to get it out pretty quick. Do not expect this to be a weekly show, and definitely not a multiple times weekly show. It will be maybe bi-weekly if we are lucky.
I could see it being bi-weekly pretty consistently.
We'll see what happens. But I'm just saying we're releasing a lot of episodes here because we are excited about this and we've got the time to shoot it right now. And we got to do a normal episode and then do this E3 episode. We'll be able to do another E3 episode, and Aiden and I are working on a special episode.
We could also maybe do this in increments, like when I'm back in between the Uncharted 4 playthrough spoilers. We already talked about that's going to
we will definitely shoot an episode or two of this while you're in town.
Yeah.
When we're and we'll take breaks from Uncharted 4.
It'll be a nice way to do a break from Uncharted 4.
And occasionally we can still have you join over the internet, as been discussed in the past, even when you're not in town.
I'll be able to Discord.
It's just a matter of whether or not we have enough to talk about to populate shows, and whether or not I have time to record and cut them.
I think we do.
Usually. We have plenty to talk about.
We thought this was going to be an hour long. It's been like 2.5.
I thought it would probably be 2 hours, and then I was just like, I hope it isn't, because we have other stuff to do.
We're idiots.
And too late! But that's why we need to finish the show right now.
Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Hope you had fun. See you next time.
Adios.